Now listen, Kath isn't very well. We got loads of calls. We'll wait and you can talk to Kath. We don't want to stay in the studio too long with you, Kath. I'm sorry.
No, I'm still highly contagious.
Because you are slightly contagious, and that's not very nice, is it? Oh, right, we're going back at 7 tomorrow. Oh, God.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. You never know just where the conversation will take you. On Talk Radio.
Try to keep you cute. I read in a magazine, one of those expensive ones, so it must be true, it must be true. Seems large amounts of alcohol is all it takes to make you fall. If I stroke your ego through the night, it'll be alright, it'll be alright. If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. I worry now I'm close to you, for your face is grey, your lips are blue, and you spend your days in no man's land. Make me take my pleasure where I can. You trail behind me like a broken kite, but it's far too late to put things right. And I found that looking back at you gives a better view. If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. Call yourself that dark angel, born to make it good. A dark angel from the heavens to the door. If this is desire, we're expecting nothing new. When this is finally love, we can burn our black suit. I wish that I had brought you joy. It's hurting me to see you cry, but I don't feel enough for you to see it through, If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new. But if this is love, burn your black suit. If this is desire, expect nothing new.
Hey, this is the Late Night Alternative. I'm Katherine Boyle. That's Juliet Turner, and she's brilliant. Look her up if you've never heard of her before. She's fantastic. Tonight, monkey-human hybrids, they exist. Ladies and gentlemen, we've suspected it for a while, but they actually exist. They've been made in a lab. The mum who's been turned into a plant pot. And the truth about Siegfried and Roy's tiger encounter. Apparently the tiger was not attacking them, and Siegfried and Roy have spoken for the first time exclusively about what really happened. Also 30 to 50 feral hogs may be sweeping through the studio at some point, but in the meantime, let's have a quick word with our favourite feral hog, Alan Caddy.
Hi, Kat.
Hey!
What is about hogs in the studio?
I have no idea. Apparently it's a big problem in some parts of America, and we shouldn't be laughing about it.
Was this a cool parting gift from Ian?
A farting gift from Ian. Now, there's a thought.
Was normally a parting gift from
Oh,
Ian
no, he's
before
not,
we went to Italy?
he's not left me anything but headaches and knotty tangles.
So he must have found the passport at the post office then?
Yeah. He found it on Saturday. It's fine. He's managed to get out of the country legally this time with minimal bloodshed.
Oh, yeah, because he was going to blast him on with a shotgun, wasn't he?
He was. He didn't need to do that, thankfully, no.
And this is coming from the biggest liquor of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sorry for Gatford, though, because I listened back on the Talk Radio app.
Did you?
Yeah, and my coffee one must have won it for me.
The what?
were coughing round when we had the coughing fit.
Oh, yeah. I think definitely, yeah. I think you're definitely right there. What kind of a day have you had, Alan Caddick? Let's talk about you.
It's been a bit wet, though, in Birmingham.
Has it? Okay.
Because Amy said I ought to be a weatherman.
Right. Amy said that. Who's Amy?
No, Hayley in the phone room.
Oh, Hayley, right, yeah. She said you should be a weatherman.
Yeah.
It would be good. I think weathermen generally tell what the weather's going to be rather than what it has been, but, I mean, there's always a niche.
Yeah, because you don't see many weathermen on the telly. It's mainly weather girls.
I think you see plenty of weathermen.
No, but when the weather first started, it was the women that used to present it.
I don't know. I think it was fellas, and they used to use those magnets.
And the licorice for the biker bars.
All that, yeah. All that.
And then it got computerised on the BBC in 1985.
Did it? Right, I'm not going to question you. I know that your memory for dates is far better than mine.
Well,
yeah.
I might be wrong.
I'm willing to guess you're right.
Well, let's put it out there.
But also, I don't care. Anyway, so what's your plans for the rest of the week, Alan Caddick?
Got the paper round in the mornings.
Brill. How many papers are you doing these days?
Well, it's up to 28 papers now because we've got a new order for the weekend.
All right. 28 papers. That's not that many, is it?
Well, per day.
Yeah. But so you do 28 houses?
No, 28 papers to 26 houses.
Oh.
Because some houses double up.
Right. Okay, so it's just 26 houses, and whereabouts are they? Are they miles away?
No, it's all on the estate.
Perfect. Perfect. You're laughing. How long does it take you?
About an hour on my bike.
Wow.
It's longer when I'm walking.
Uh-huh. Okay. And do you listen to music while you're doing that, or do you just freestyle it? Do you sing to yourself?
I listened back to last night's Someone Talk Radio, of course.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much indeed, Alan Caddick. I like to think in some way we are helping you to get the tomorrow's news to the doors of 26 people.
You mean the headlines?
All that stuff, yeah.
All right, cheers, Gaff.
Bye. I mean, does that seem like a short round to you? I seem to remember doing a paper round one. I wasn't allowed to do one on my own. My mum said it was a mugs game, right? And a friend of mine had one, and she had this massive bag. It was really heavy, and there were loads of papers in there, and it seemed to take hours and hours, and you had to fold them a certain way, and you weren't allowed to leave them hanging out of the letterbox. And 28 papers to 26 houses doesn't seem massive amounts, but I'm sure he does it with great vim and verve. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number to phone tonight. It's just me. Iain's away with his boys, and I'm here with you guys. We've got loads to talk about, but and we can do talking points and stuff, but I always throw them out and you never come back with them. So, you can yammer on about whatever you fancy. 0344 499 1000. But first of all, I think we should right a great wrong that's been going on since 2003. Siegfried and Roy finally setting the record straight on what really happened with that tiger attack in 2003. They say it wasn't an attack, it was an accident. Siegfried and Roy have broken their silence over a trainer's claims that they were responsible for the 2003 tiger attack that nearly killed Roy and ended the legendary Illusionist Las Vegas show. I went over there probably the year before that, and those guys were huge. They kind of owned Vegas. I guess now if you go, it's all about Celine Dion. And Elton John before that, they kind of owned the place, and they had these sort of multi-million-dollar deals, and they were living kind of in private houses in the boundaries of the hotel complex, and they were living the dream. These guys were two guys with kind of Derek Acora haircuts, and actually a similar wardrobe to Derek Acora, very snazzy, very sharp, and as I say, they were the kings of Vegas. 2003 happened, it all went horribly wrong. I resume the story. They say it was an accident, because if a tiger attacks you, it takes 2 seconds to take you over. Siegfried Fischbacher, 80, said in an interview with Good Morning America, the Masters of Magic performed at the Mirage Resort and Casino from 1990 until Roy Horn suffered the career-ending injury on stage on October 3rd, 2003, his 59th birthday. The duo's show was regarded as the most visited performance on the Strip, grossing $45 million a year. Earlier this year, their former handler, Chris Lawrence, alleged Roy hadn't followed the proper procedure on stage, and this had diminished his relationship with Manticore, a Siberian white tiger, which contributed to the attack. Lawrence also claimed Roy had been treating the cats like props instead of respecting them for who they were. But Siegfried hit back at the claim, saying the attack occurred while Roy was having a stroke on stage and the tiger was trying to help. Manticore was waiting to get his jump up on Roy's shoulders and get his treat, Siegfried explained, adding that Roy said no, 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 no to Manticore. Siegfried said Manticore jumped on Roy, 74, who then looked around and appeared to not understand what was going on. He said that's when Manticore grabbed Roy by the neck and dragged him off stage, apparently just trying to help. In March, Lawrence, who was working on the night with Roy was attacked, told The Hollywood Reporter many of the handlers thought Roy was treating the cats more like props than he was respecting them for who they were. Lawrence noted that Roy was feeding and walking the big cats far less frequently over the years. That can only work as long as there are no variables, which is impossible considering you're dealing with a living, thinking animal. I'm positive that Roy's diminishing relationship with Manticore was a key factor in the attack, Lawrence said. But Siegfried and Roy have maintained the 7-foot male tiger, who weighed 400 pounds, was trying to protect Roy after he suffered a stroke during his birthday show, performed in front of A-listers and friend. Now, this to me sounds like the ultimate cat lover's excuse for their cat's bad behaviour. My sister's cat was my nemesis. Elvis, his name was. He was the runt of the litter, and I think he was taken away from the litter too soon. And he took a dislike to me. The weirdest thing was, we were cool until I had a baby. And I don't know what kind of hormonal stuff I was kicking off, or whether the baby crying and me always being with the baby when the baby was crying maybe kicked off some sort of protective instinct in this cat. But from then on, it was like one of those Disney villain cats. It used to lie in wait for me, right? And it used to look around and make sure no one else was there so it could stitch me up, right? If I went past the stairs, it would suddenly appear at the banister and take a swipe at my face. And when I told my sister, oh no, he wouldn't do that. He did it. Or I'd go out of the room and I'd be on my own with it and he would just hiss at me and like go for my leg. And I'd tell my sister, and she said, no, you must be playing. So I think in this case, I mean, obviously, this ended up in near disaster for poor old Roy and ended a career, but helping him because he was having a stroke, I don't think so, my friend. 0344 499 1000 is the phone number to call tonight. If you fancy a chat, we can talk about excuses for bad behaviour in pets. We can talk about that. I know some of you went to see Siegfried and Roy. I had a tweet earlier on from someone who had been in Vegas just before that. Let me just see. It says, this is from Jimmy T. Before the tiger attack, I was at the Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas. You can listen to recordings from Siegfried and Roy on the way around the zoo area. At the tigers, Roy mentioned happily that only once a tiger had become angry at him. He'd manfully tap the tiger on the nose and it calmed down. Well, that didn't work this time around. Thanks for that, Jimmy T. If you want to send me a tweet, it's at Talk Radio or at FlippingCath. You can text me on 87222. Just put talk before your message, or you can give me a ring on 0344 499 1000. Today I had one of those days with the kids where, what is it? Is it week 2 of the holidays? I've completely lost count. And my parents have been away, so I've not had the usual sort of cavalry call from my mum at about 11 o'clock, and she'll take the kids out for an hour or two so I can have a kip. Obviously working late nights and looking after kids at the same time. There's only so long you can do it before you turn into Evil Edna, which is what I've turned into today. So I try to make sure that the kids aren't just sort of sitting in front of screens all day, because, you know, my bad mum alarm starts going off in my head, even though I think, you know, now and again, let them do what they want to do. It's holidays. So I decided, right, okay, well, let them make slime. They've been talking about wanting to make slime, which apparently is what they're doing these days. I find it really strange that kids now are into this sort of tactile, the crazes of sort of tactile stuff. Started with the fidget spinners, then it was those mini magnet things. Now it's all about slime. It's all kind of tactile stuff rather than like super stimulating. I suppose the games that they play all the time are super fast and stimulating. And so they just want to do something that's a little bit more, you know, using their senses, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so they're making this slime, and I thought, groovy, I'm a cool mum, I'm letting them do it, I'm chilled. They're over there in the corner of the house where the carpet is already destroyed, so it doesn't matter if they tramp it in, because they will. And I've covered the table we're all sorted. And so I let them play. And they were actually, this is a thing that I think is quite 2019. One of them had set a camera up and they were doing like a YouTube tutorial, just pretending, but it's the 2019 version of what me and my sister used to do, which was put a tape in and do a radio show, right? So they're doing YouTube, which one day I'm going to play to them because it's hilarious. They've got all the mannerisms down and everything. They're going, don't forget to like and subscribe. And they've got, one of them's calling herself, what's she calling herself? Shadow Shimmer. And the other one is Watermelon WhatsApp. Yeah, what's going on? So they think that, they've got it sorted. And to be honest, they would be brilliant, but I'm not letting them anywhere near YouTube, obviously, because they're only sort of, what are they? 8 coming up 11. So anyway, they're doing that. And I thought, groovy, we're all cool. And then I noticed that there was like a trail of slime going from the table to the various other parts of the house that they've been visiting, like to the loo and back and to the kitchen and back. And I started to get a little bit uptight and I'm thinking, chill out, Catherine, this is all sortable. It's probably water-based. We can get rid of it. Also, you were the messiest kid in the world. You've got absolutely no right to complain. And then I went in the bathroom. And this is where I am going to sound pathetic, and I know I do because I heard myself thinking it and thought it sounded pathetic, but I still couldn't help my hackles from rising. Like all down one of my, I've got posh towels downstairs because that's where strangers go, right? So it's that kind of area of the house where you pretend you live like that all the time, but actually all the crap's upstairs. And there was a great big blue hand mark all the way down my towel. I started going, right, okay, girls, I think you should tidy up now. And then they were kind of asking me for things. I sort of took myself off into the kitchen and I said, best not to ask me anything for about 10 minutes. I'm just a little bit cross about something, but I'll be all right in a minute. And I was trying not to take it out on them because I realised it was completely my thing and mostly down to being not very well and knackered. And it was that moment. And then one of them came in and she said, what's the matter then, Mummy? And I came out with the thing I swore I never would and that my mum used to come out with the whole time. I heard my mother's voice say, it's just I can't have anything nice with you two. I can't have anything nice with you two. I heard that over and over again when I was a kid. And sure enough, yeah, I was a clumsy kid. But I can't have anything nice because of a towel, for God's sake, that I put in the washing machine. It's probably going to be fine. I can't have anything nice with you two. And then I heard myself and I heard myself and I thought, right, you're being an idiot. And I made myself laugh a little bit. And then I said to the girls, do you know, Grandma used to say that all the time. She used to say she couldn't have anything nice with us. And the girls said, and now all Grandma's stuff is nice. And my youngest went, she's even got a cream sofa, which is the height of niceness according to my kids. I said, yeah, guess what colour the sofa was when I was a kid growing up at Grandma's house? They went, brown, like ours? I said, yeah. I said, there's no accident there. I said, one day you're going to grow up and you'll realise you've turned into your mother. And today was one of those days. So sorry to the girls. They won't be listening, but maybe they'll listen in the future. Sorry to the girls. Thank you to Mum. And flipping it, Catherine, sort your life out.
Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
03444991000. Fleet Boy is absolutely right on Twitter. It's like when your kid says a naughty word and your response is, where did you get that from? You know exactly where they get it from. All credibility is lost with that sentence. I know. And we all say it. We all say it. It's like the time when one of my kids was at preschool and she was talking to the teacher about what you say when you're cross. And she says, well, in books they say bother. But Grandma says, oh, chips. We knew it wasn't oh, chips. Hello, Jimmy.
Hiya.
Hey.
How you doing, Kat?
I'm all right, thanks. Thanks for giving me a ring. 03444991000, by the way, if you want to give me a ring. Thanks for picking up the phone, Jimmy. What you got?
Yeah, well, first of all, I remember my old dad used to say to me, you can learn the easy way or you can learn the hard way. And if you're not careful, you'll learn the hard way. And I never quite understood what that meant. But nowadays, with my 10-year-old and 6-year-old, I say it all the time.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre how that happens.
I know.
You just turn into them, don't you?
You catch yourself and you go, oh my God. In fact, I saw myself in the mirror today and I've had my fringe cut and I look just like my mum. I'm having one of those days. If she's listening, she'd be horrified that I'm horrified. But you know what I mean? It's no disrespect to my mum, but she's a good 20 years on me. But yeah, you start turning into them. You start coming out with things that you swore you never would or you didn't understand when you were a kid. And there it is.
and all of a sudden your kids turn into you as well.
It's true. It's true. The one that traipsed all the stuff through the house is me, and I always swore to myself I would never go mad at that kid, because I don't think it makes... I didn't do it on purpose, and I don't think it makes them, you know, it just makes them nervous. I was really clumsy, and I was clumsier because my dad was forever preempting me knocking stuff over.
Self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
But years before I had kids, I went to Las Vegas and went to the Mirage Hotel where Siegfried and Roy performed.
Ah, right.
And this was... we didn't actually go see the show because the show seemed a bit hammy. Wasn't really into the kind of all the tricks and stuff. I think they were a magic act.
Yeah, and they were quite... From what I remember, they were quite old-fashioned then. I mean, the presentation was very kind of 80s mullets, big shoulder pads, that whole thing, you know, old-fashioned magic, wasn't it?
And it was, and I had no knowledge of them from this country at all. So we go over there, and all of a sudden they're the biggest thing. They're on all the billboards, and like some of the hotels, you'd have like Caesar's Palace, obviously the big one. You'd have Treasure Island, which was all around like two great big pirate ships having a big battle, and there'd all be these themes. And the theme for this hotel was Siegfried and Roy, so they pretty much ran this giant hotel in an exclusive part of Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And so we went to this, I think it was called the Secret Garden or something like that. And they had lots of animals there. It was a bit like a zoo. They even had dolphins there, so you could go see the dolphins. But the big attraction was these white tigers. Because I think one of the big things about it was that they were albino tigers, I think.
Right.
So they were quite rare. And so everybody wanted to go see these things. And you had... You know, like these days you go to visit somewhere and you've got like a headset you can put on and you'll listen to a narration through the journey around somewhere. They had a similar thing which was Siegfried and Roy. And so Siegfried and Roy would interject, you press number 1 and they'd start chatting about it. We got to the tigers and Roy says, can't do the accent, one time one of the tigers reared up at me. It was the only time they ever did it. I bopped him on the nose, and he went straight back down again.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, I'm not sure I would have taken that tactic.
I don't think it's the approved method.
No, I think surely if it's fight or flight against a tiger, I'm fleeing as quick as I possibly can.
Although you've kind of had it when it comes to that, haven't you? I mean, there's no point. There is no taking on a tiger. I've heard of different techniques for, you can punch a shark in the nose, apparently. I hope I never get to the point where I've got to test that theory out, but tiger, once it's up, then you've had it, haven't you?
Well, according to him, though, it worked, and he was very pleased with the result, and he said, no, never again did this tiger rear up at me.
He must really be magic.
Well, fast forward to the actual hearing about Roy being mauled by the tiger, and all I can think about is that it's reared up at him, and he's thought, I know what to do, pop him on the nose, this'll be fine, and then no.
No, not having it. Wasn't going to work at all. Thanks, Jimmy.
My pleasure.
Nice to speak to you. 03444991000. I mean, if you were in Vegas around that time, sort of 2000, I think they were there for a couple of years, that was the only time I'd ever heard of these guys, because, like he says, it was not like, they weren't like household names like your Paul Daniels, etc. They're probably bigger than him in America, of course, but over here, nothing, but they were that kind of, I think even David Copperfield would think that they were old-fashioned. They were very super 80s style, glamour, doing the whole kind of miming and mugging faces, that whole over-the-top, classic Vegas kind of magic. And so for that to happen, it was really, really shocking. And at the same time, if there's a definition of asking for it, it's someone messing about with a tiger and thinking that just bopping it on the nose is going to sort things out. Flipping heck. I mean, you've heard of the Darwin Awards. That's right up there. He was lucky that he survived. Some other stuff we can talk about today. Hey, human-monkey hybrids. I mean, it's been long suspected that some the people that walk amongst us aren't quite as they should be. But there's this. Apparently, it's been done in a lab. Now, here's my theory about these hybrid things, right? If they're admitting to it, they've done it before. They're not going to admit to it straight away. They're going to wait until they've properly finessed it, right? So this story about a human-monkey hybrid that's actually happened and that they are confessing to, it's got to be old news. It's got to be old news. They are walking amongst us, my friends. They've done this before, and if they're admitting to it, this is because they've managed to hit the jackpot with one particular example of it. But here it is. Here's the story. Scientists claim to have created the world's first, pull the other one, human-monkey hybrid using groundbreaking scientific techniques. The human-monkey embryos, in which human cells are added to the monkey embryos. Yeah, we get it. We get what a hybrid is. Created by researchers in China. Again, if China's admitting to it, it's because they're pretty pleased with the result. They're going to have lab full of these things. It's going to be like one of those Dr. Moreau. That was the name of the film, wasn't it? Dr. Moreau's Island, where he'd made all these different creatures by splicing things together. They hope the breakthrough will eventually create an endless supply of human organs for transplants. Isn't that a hideous thought? They're going to make these creatures just so we can farm them. What the hell is going on? It's all going to go wrong. Just look at all the films. Jurassic Park. Just don't do it. They hope the breakthrough will eventually create this endless supply of human organs for transplants. I don't want a monkey-human hybrid one, thank you very much. But critics have warned the scientific development will create disturbing dilemmas over the ethics of human-animal hybrids. The project was led by Spanish scientist Juan Carlos Izpisua in a laboratory in China. Project collaborator Estrella Nunez told El País. The team was made up of members of the Salk Institute in California, US, and the Murcia Catholic University in Spain. Nunez, a biologist and vice-chancellor of the research team at UCAM, said, "The results are very promising." Izpisua said, "From UCAM and the Salk Institute, we are now trying not only to move forward and continue experimenting with human cells and rodent and pig cells, but also with non-human primates. Our country is a pioneer and a world leader in these investigations." Nunez says the team has created a mechanism so that if human cells migrate to the brain, they will self-destruct. My God, this is horrific. The experiment raises ethical issues as other scientists fear the stem cells would develop a human central nervous system in the animal. Dr. Angel Raya, director of the Barcelona Regenerative Medicine Center, told El País, what happens if the stem cells escape and form human neurons in the brain of the animal? Would it have consciousness? And what happens if these stem cells turn into sperm cells? Oh my God, he's one step further on. The controversial research is restricted in Spain and only allowed for investigating into deadly diseases, and therefore the team decided to work in China to avoid legal issues. Alarm bells, ladies and gents. Despite this, the research was largely funded by the UCAM, as it's a project that cost hundreds of thousands of euros, Nunez is quoted as saying. She added the ultimate goal will be to create a human organ that could be transplanted, but the path itself is almost more interesting for today's scientist. Izpisua, 59, had previously conducted a human-pig hybrid, but failed, they reckon, as the human cells did not take hold, it's reported. The groundbreaking result of the experiment left researchers questioning its accuracy. Pablo Ross, a veterinary researcher at the University of California, Davis, who previously worked with Salk on the human pig embryo, said the project didn't make sense. He told MIT Technology Review, "I always make the case it doesn't make sense to use a primate for that. Typically they're very small and take too long to develop." Oh, so his problem was with the size, not the fact that we're messing with nature. For God's sake, people, wake up, watch some films. It never ends well. Hello, Bruce. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Catherine. How are you?
I'm frightened. I'm frightened of what we're doing. We're messing with nature, and you know and I know how that ends. In a sticky mess.
Like the recent revamp of the Planet of the Apes. That's exactly what that taught us.
Well, exactly.
Those apes were firing guns.
This is what's going to happen. And it starts here with people messing about in Chinese laboratories.
That's right.
Anyway.
So I heard a few things. I came in a bit late. I apologise. But two of the things that I heard were things you tell your kids.
Yeah.
So not this isn't what I've told my kids, but this is what I was told when I was a kid. Two things that stuck with me. The first one is the classic, don't pull that face because if the wind changes, your face will stick like that.
Yeah, we had that one as well.
Well, I mean, like, logistically, I mean, I think they say that to you because when you're like 4, 5, whatever, you believe any old nonsense your parents tell you.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no logic in it at all.
If the wind changes, your face will stick like that.
Oh, just amazing. And the other one was, if you pick your nose, every time you pick your nose, you get a hole in your head.
Oh, yeah, I was told my head would cave in.
Yeah.
But my granddad used to say, give me a wave when you get to the bridge. That was his favourite one. That said he'd spotted you picking your conch. Disgusting. Yeah. But my youngest daughter has always got her finger up her hooter, and she eats them. And then she has the audacity to tell me she doesn't want to eat what I've made for her. And I say, but hang on a minute, mate. You've been eating bogies all day long. That's probably the problem.
Fill herself up.
She's full.
You know what? They actually say that you should do that. They reckon there was some. I remember reading some document from some Austrian institute where they said it's actually good for your immune system.
Wow.
To do that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not.
Here's the thing. Don't be coy, Bruce. We all think it's disgusting, and we all know what they taste like.
Now you were talking about Siegfried and Roy as well.
Yeah.
Right. Like, did you know Siegfried and Roy had 2 animated cartoons about them?
Shut up. I need to look this up.
So one of them, I don't know if they're both series. One definitely was a series. One was a special where they used their magical powers as like superheroes, right? And the second one, and this is what's quite funny about it, was about the Tigers. And it premiered, or was due to premiere, like literally weeks before the attack happened.
Hang on a minute, I found it. And this is the Siegfried and Roy, Masters of the Impossible, 1996, and this is the intro, this is the opening.
When the dust demons are swept from the hearth, and the kindling's been set ablaze, the mages sit by the fire.
What accent's
and
this?
they call a once magic world called...
Oh, they were German.
A place of fairy queens and wishing wells, of unicorns, dragons, potions and spells. Ah, but Titan gods raged through Sarmoti one day, stealing all magic and powers away.
Apparently this is your people.
And locked out the bad in the Oracle of
Honestly,
Phrygia.
where's the accent from?
I think it's from California. Couldn't they just got an Irishman in?
But
This
now
is terrible.
begins a new chapter. A tale
I think the other one was called like Father of the Pride or something.
It's called what?
I think it was called Father of the Pride. I remember all the animals talk. I saw a little bit of it. I remember the animals talking, and Siegfried and Roy didn't voice themselves, if I remember, but they were in it. But it was focused on the animals, and this attack happened, and obviously the cartoon didn't last very long.
Hang on, here we go. This is on Wikipedia. Father of the Pride is an American animated sitcom created by Jeffrey Katzenberg for DreamWorks that was part of a short-lived trend of CGI series in primetime network TV. The series centres on a family of white lions, the patriarch of which stars in a Siegfried and Roy show in Las Vegas. Despite heavy promotion, the series was a flop and cancelled after one season. Transmission and production were also delayed by the real-life on-stage injury of Roy Horn in October 2003. What might have been?
I know, it's incredible.
Sounds like an absolute beauty.
I actually, when I went to Vegas, I went to see David Copperfield perform.
Now that I would love to see.
Well, the thing is, like, I've got to be honest. I mean, I do like magic, right? But I wasn't like looking forward to it that much. It ended up though that I was involved in one of the illusions on stage.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Go on. What happened?
So they threw this ball out, and you had to keep throwing it around the audience, and if it, they'd stop it every now and again, and if you had the ball, you got selected. And there was about 20 of us that got picked, and we all had to walk up on stage, and they put us into 2 groups, and some of us were stood on stage, and the others were sat in these chairs, and there was like a row of, like a stack of chairs, like almost like stadium seating, right?
Yeah.
So people sat in those chairs, we stood by the side, the people in the chairs then disappeared on stage, right? So they put this like sheet over them, and they had torches, so you could see them shining their torches. Then he did some magic, and he lifted up the sheet, and they were gone. and then they were flashing their torches from the audience.
What?
And I got, and everyone afterwards, because we went out for dinner afterwards, everyone said to us, so what happened? I was like, you saw what happened. I cannot tell you what happened because I have got no idea. They were next to me, and then they weren't next to me. Even now, like 6-7 years on, I still can't get my head around what I saw because it was that close.
There was no hint of a switcheroo or mirrors or a trapdoor.
I mean, obviously something like that must have been involved, but how they actually did it, I've got absolutely no idea. So I would heartily recommend checking him out if you ever get a chance to go over there when he's performing.
That's incredible. That is incredible. Yeah. God, and how lucky were you to be right next to it all?
I know, just amazing. Just amazing. It's a funny place, Vegas. You ever been?
Yeah, I went for a weekend once because my sister used to be cabin crew. So I've been to a couple of places for the weekend. Japan and Vegas. And yeah, Japan. I managed to sleep off the jet lag just as we were leaving, and we stayed pretty much in their version of Heathrow. So we were in Narita for the whole weekend. We tried to venture out at one point, but we got terribly lost and chickened out. I mean, it's the closest thing to feeling like E.T. that you'll ever feel, because you can't work stuff out. Like if you're in Europe or a country where the alphabet is recognisable, you can work stuff out. Out there, we just walked along this railway track. We had this map. We wanted to get to this temple. And we thought, well, if we walk along the railway track, we can't go wrong. So we were walking and walking and walking and walking for ages, and nothing was looking familiar. And we realised that we'd probably gone wrong, but we didn't know whether it would be foolhardy to stop or, whether we were nearly there. So this girl came along on a bike, and we flagged her down and we said, "Excuse me, do you speak English?" And she sort of said, "Yeah." And she looked at the map, and I said, "Where are we on this map?" And I swear to you, she looked at it for about 30 seconds, absolute silence, and it was really tense. She went, "You're not on the map." Apparently, in Japan, they hate being the bearer of bad news. So obviously during that time, she's thinking, these two absolute plums are completely in the wrong direction, but how am I going to break it to them? Yeah, she hated telling us. So she said, I said, "So where are we in relation to the map?" And she's like, we were miles off. So that's why we didn't go to Tokyo, because we couldn't even manage the flipping same town. It was ridiculous. Anyway, so I went to Vegas, and I think it's the sort of place that is cool for a weekend, but I can't see why you'd want to go for any longer than that. It's like... No. For me, it felt like Blackpool with more money thrown at it.
I felt like I was in a dome.
Yeah.
Because it's such a... it's almost like it's its own bubble. Like, nothing is like anywhere else in the world. It is just so peculiar. I was there for, I think, 5 days, 6 days. And by the end of it, I had a great time, but I was quite prepared to come home.
Yeah, you had enough.
I think, I don't understand anyone that would want to go there any longer. Look, just before I go, can I ask you, what's the cheekiest thing your kids have ever said to you?
Oh, they asked me if I knew Jesus. But I can kind of understand why they did that, because they knew that Jesus was about 30 and I was about 30. I mean, they're being obviously idiots, because I'm well over 30. But yeah, I think they just assumed that we should know each other. Yeah, those RE lessons at school really have not paid off. What about yours? What about yours?
The reason I say that is because I recorded a podcast with my 6-year-old the other day.
Oh, brilliant.
Because she'd gone to see the new Lion King film, which I didn't like, but she'd gone to see it with her mum.
Right.
So I was like, when you come home with your mum, let's record together. And the first thing out of her mouth was, "You've lost your marbles, Daddy." Oh,
wow.
My 6-year-old daughter.
That sounds like it didn't come directly from her, if you know what I mean.
No, the thing is, no, because I would think that normally, but, that is my daughter. So, no, nothing surprises me.
Wow.
She embarrasses me when we go out shopping all the time. I was trying to show her a toy the other week. I saw a toy in a shop, and I thought, oh, she'll like this. So I said, "Oh, Alex, come and look at this toy." And she went, "That's very interesting, Daddy, isn't it?"
Wow. She's humouring you, and she's 6. Wow. And so it begins. Hey, thanks for ringing, Bruce.
No worries.
Good to talk to you. Bye-bye. You got me thinking, have you ever seen... I saw this documentary, and I'm sure I saw it, but I also wonder whether it was sort of a dream. A documentary about people who live in the storm drains under Vegas. Have you heard of this? Here's what I remember. And tell me if this sounds familiar to you at all, because it does sound like a fever dream, and I'm having a lot of those recently. The night nurse. But this was something I saw a couple of years ago, I think, and it was about people who live in the storm drains of Vegas. And what had happened was they'd gone to Vegas to gamble. They were gambling addicts. They'd gone to gamble, lost all their money, ended up sleeping rough, and then been taken into this community of people that live under the streets of Las Vegas. And there's loads of them down there, and they've kind of organised themselves into little social groups down there. So, you know, some won't talk to the others. Some are, you know, drug addicts, and they don't talk to the others who are just gambling addicts, and some think they're better than the others. And they'll go to, what it showed in this documentary was this guy going from casino to casino. That's what he spent his day doing, and putting his hand in the slot machines to see if there's any change in there. And the only thing he would do if he found the money in there was put it straight back in there. It was incredible, that documentary. I've got the feeling it was like a BBC Three thing, but I couldn't tell you any more than that. I wish I remembered more. I'll have to look it up because it was something I'll never forget. The content of it, but obviously I can't remember what the title was, which is probably the most useful thing to you. 0344 499 1000 if you want to give me a ring. Let's have a word with Nigel. Hey, Nigel.
Oh, hi, Kath.
Oh, hello.
Today I treated myself to some batteries for the karaoke machine.
Oh ho!
Because I want to go back into busking in the towns, back into busking, so that'll be interesting, won't it?
It'll be good, won't it?
Well, it'd be good fun for me.
Hang on a minute, Nigel. I'm being told off because I'm supposed to have taken a break. Can you hang on a minute? I'll come back to you.
Yeah.
All right. Hold fire.
Okay.
We'll speak to you in a second.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
Sorry, Nigel. I cut you off in your prime there.
Yes. Hi again.
Hello.
Did you have a good day today, Kath?
Oh, I had an all right day, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow because my husband's going to take the kids out so I can sleep.
Yeah.
Because I've had this cold for about 4 days and it's not going anywhere, and I think I'm just going to have to give into it, dose up and rest.
How many more weeks have they got off?
God, I don't know. What, 4?
Oh, it's about 6 weeks altogether.
So I think they go back at the first week in September. So what are we now?
Yeah.
Oh God, about 4.
Another 2 weeks then, 3 weeks.
About 4. I love them, but it is knackering, Nigel. I'm not going to lie.
It's a long time, isn't it, to be off?
Yeah.
And you've got to be there a lot of the time, haven't you?
They are, do you know what? They've been hanging around for 7 years and 10 years respectively, and they show no sign of leaving home yet. So yeah, I do have to be around, yeah.
Are they about 14 then?
No, they're 7 and 10.
Oh, sorry.
They're little. They're little.
Yeah. Anyway, tonight, can you hear me? This is okay, isn't it? Well, I've got it now, the phone.
Yeah, it's perfect. Where are you? In your kitchen?
In the middle of the front, sitting on the sofa in the front room. The neighbours have gone on holiday anyway, so I can make a little bit more noise.
Aha. Is this why you thought
they've gone away for 2 weeks?
Is this why you thought about getting the karaoke machine going again?
Tonight I'm going to be Whitney Houston.
Are you?
Yes, just as hang on, I've got to switch it back on again.
That could have been so smooth, Nigel.
Yeah, I've got to turn it back on to get to the right. Yeah, tonight I'm going to be Whitney Houston.
All right.
Just as a laugh. You know, I'm not saying I'm gay or anything.
Listen, Nigel, no judgment. We've all got dreams. You can do what you want.
Well, I just thought it's something different. Here we are. I found the song. This is it. Okay, I'll do it now then.
Go for it.
Here we go.
Tonight.
Saving all my love for you, this one.
All right. I'll give you a big intro. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen,
hands
together.
The song.
Oh, God, right. Well, just go.
Yeah.
Try and have it nice for him. He just won't appreciate
it. It's you, stolen moments, is all that we share. You've got your family, and they need you there. So I try to resist being the last on my list. No other man gonna do. So I'm saving all my love for you. It's not very easy living all alone. My friends tried to tell me, find a man of your own. But each time I try, I just break down and cry. 'Cause I'd rather be home, really blue. So I'm saving all my love for you. They used to tell me we run away together, but love gives you the right to be free. Except be patient, just wait a little longer, but that's just an old fantasy. Just a few moments more. When I walk through that door, 'cause tonight is the night of feeling alright. 'Cause we're making love the whole night through. So I'm saving all my love. Yes, I'm saving all my love. Yes, I'm saving all my love for you. Saving all my love for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hello.
Wow, Nigel, that was a very sensual song.
It must have come over a bit funny because I think it turned up a bit too loud.
No, it came over beautifully. I like the bits at the beginning where it sounded like you were doing a duet with yourself. That's a skill.
Yeah. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean by that?
Well, when you're going, you sort of went, a few stolen moments.
Yeah.
No, no. And then it was, you sort of did the man's version. And then
I see. Well, I changed key.
Exactly. You've got excellent range.
Key, but it's a difficult song for a man to sing, isn't it? Because it's a bit high, isn't it?
Here's the thing. It's a difficult song for a woman to sing. She was a good singer. Very, very brave to take on a Whitney song.
I need to practice more.
Hey, no, you did a good job. Thanks very much for ringing,
Yeah,
Nigel.
Thanks very much, Kath. Speak to you soon.
Yay, bye. 0344 499 1000 is the number to call. I mean, you can do what you want. Sing me a song, do me a tap dance, whatever you feel like. Andre.
Hi, Kath. All right, evening.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Whoa, do you want to, or do you want the two items? Yeah. Oh, the two items on my agenda.
You've done that before. Whoa.
Yeah. I've got two items on the agenda, yeah?
Excellent.
Right, now, do you want the first one or the second one?
I don't really want either, but give me what you got.
Well, the first one is, you know, you were talking about, you know, being half without. I think I'm half a cat. Because I'm pure white, yeah?
Yeah.
With a really fluffy tail. Yeah, and I'm perfect in every way.
Yes.
But to go with that,
you can lick your own bum.
Lappy.
You don't want...
I've got a song on my lappy for you.
Wow.
Which I think I can top the last fella's one, yeah?
How could you? How could
Are you
anyone?
ready for it? Well, remember I'm a white cat, yeah?
Right.
Here we go.
Oh, it was a cue for a song, was it?
Can you hear it yet?
Not really. Can you bring it a bit closer?
Yeah, I'll turn out a bit.
Oh, God.
Here it goes. Ready?
I can feel it brewing.
So, look, have you done? Little sister, that's the only one. Hey, little sister, who's your Superman? Hey, little sister, who's the one you want? Who's little sister shotgun? It's a nice day for a white wedding. It's a nice day to start again. Good? Last day, start again. Hey, sister, is this you?
You've forgotten the words, haven't you?
I like it. I like it.
What I love about you, Andre, is you never thought you'd get this far, so you didn't bother learning the words.
Yeah, but I liked it because I'm a white cat.
Right, I get it. I get it.
Right, let's turn that off a minute. Right, rocks and scissors.
Go on then.
What you got?
Scud missile.
I've got a tank.
think a missile could take out a tank.
All right then. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. What you got?
What you got?
Yeah, a destroyer.
A destroyer. Ooh. Have an H-bomb.
All right. 1, 2, 3, go. What you got?
The bubonic plague.
I've got an A-bomb that finished that off.
All right, 1 out of 3. I'll let you have that one.
Yeah. Remember, I'm a cat, yeah? I'm a cat.
You're something. Thanks very much for ringing. Let's have a word with Jerry, quick, before the end of the hour. 03444991000, by the way. Get those calls in, because I want to talk to you. Hi, Jerry.
Hello, how you doing, Kat?
How are you in this hot weather?
No, not doing too well. Doing all right today, it's a bit cooler today. But everything's not doing too well when you go outside.
No.
I felt like I don't know what.
Yeah.
Pointing. I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Still surviving.
Good. I'm glad to hear your voice.
Yeah, I'm sounding on too bad.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Can't speak to you for ages.
No, I know. Because, to be honest, the last few times you've called, it's been quite hard to work out what you're saying. Because I think
when you're in.
Yeah.
When you're in Belfast. Oh, goodness, how weird it was.
I remember.
Saying that.
Well, that's good to
hear. When you're the rabbit hole.
It's good to be keeping on, Jerry. You take care of yourself. I'm going to have to go because we've got the news coming up.
The news? You read our Jews.
God, I'm glad I didn't understand what that was. Jerry, thanks very much. 03444991000. Stick with me. I've got 2 more hours of this nonsense.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. You never know just where the conversation will take you.
On Talk Radio.
Doctor fell. I got your ring upon my finger, your bells on my toes, and I got everything that every woman longs for, I suppose. But I feel like you are threading a silver chain right through my nose, Dr. Fell. You better loose your hold on me. I do not like the Dr. Fell. You made me fall in love with you. I do not like the Dr. Fell. And I was just as happy being on my own. I won't be leaving you, 'cause that is not the way I do things. Can't get worse, might get better, has always been my way of thinking. But you have trapped me on a boat that's filling up and swiftly sinking. Dr. Fell, you better loose your hold on me. I do not like the Dr. Fell. You made me fall in love with you. I do not like the Dr. Fell. And I was just as happy being on my own. Now you no more
0344 499 1000. You're listening to the Late Night Alternative. I'm Katherine Boyle. And we've got 2 hours of whatever you fancy coming up. I've got some stories, if you're just joining us, you've missed the human-monkey clones. Coming up, though, the mum in a plant pot. And the exploding toilet. But also, whatever you fancy. 0344 499 1000. By the way, Andrew, we're trying to call you back. Please answer your phone. Unless you've had, a better offer, which is always good on Tuesday? Just gone 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. 0344 499 1000. Let me tell you. We were talking earlier on about Vegas and kind of all the glitz and glamour above the ground, but underground. I seem to remember there's a massive homelessness problem and people are living rough in the storm drains. Turns out it wasn't a fever dream. I found this article here, The Secret World Beneath Sin City, on the BBC website, because I seem to remember it was a BBC documentary I'd seen where these people who had gone to Vegas to, have a gambling weekend and never left because they had a gambling problem were living in the storm drains. The state of Nevada, according to this BBC thing from ages ago, 2009, has one of the highest rates of homelessness in the US. But even though there are more than 14,000 homeless people in Las Vegas, it's easy to spend a weekend in Sin City and never see signs of a crisis. Most tourists take in Vegas from the interior of a casino, slot machines, blackjack tables, cocktail waitresses and impossibly tiny outfits. If you're willing to pay the price of admission, a lift can transport you to more access upstairs with rooftop pools and lavish suites, blah, blah, blah. But if you go below the sunken lounges and past kitchens and utility closets through layers of concrete into the ground beneath the casinos, you'd see another different version of the city. Matt O'Brien, a Vegas writer, has been exploring this underworld for several years. In 2007, he published a book, Beneath the Neon, about exploring the 300 miles of tunnels that crisscross beneath the strip. I'd seen it in this documentary. It was incredible. I know a really close friend of mine is a gambling addict. I can completely see how it can take over your life. He's been really lucky and he's got onto the 12-step program, but it threatened to take everything. So I can completely get how you would end up living underneath the casino and going up. And this is the thing about this documentary that really struck me, was the fact that they would go in and check the slot machines for any excess change that people had left behind. And instead of feeding themselves, they'd just stick it back in again. It's just incredible. Haley thinks she might have found it. And so I'm going to retweet what Haley sent me. Haley's doing the phones tonight, by the way. The people living in the tunnels underneath Vegas. It's a Journeyman TV documentary. If it's not the one I saw, it's one that's pretty similar. 0344 499 1000. If you know the title of the one I'm talking about, which I'm pretty sure was like a BBC 4 thing. But it's incredible. Should we have a look? I don't know if it's sweary. Hang on. Let's have a go. Hang on. Let me just make sure I've got everything else switched off on my computer, otherwise you're going to get all sorts. Not that, you pervert. Right, okay. Let's try this.
Let's go 0001. Just keep working your way up. If you get you all nines and you still don't have it, then something's wrong.
It's a guy playing with a combination lock.
Sometimes a city is not what it appears to be. Even early in the morning, Las Vegas shines and sparkles. The neon lights seem to have a magical...
No, this isn't it. I would remember that delivery. No, it wasn't that. That wasn't it. I'll find it at some point tonight. And if you remember it, if you could help me out, that'd be really helpful. 0344 499 1000. Tweet at Talk Radio or at Flippin' Kath, which some of you do. Thanks very much for all your messages. Or you can text Talk and your message to 87222. Oh, here's Andrew in Vegas. Hang on a minute. This is the man who'll know. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Kath.
Hey, so...
Hello, can you hear me this time?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. So...
Oh, that's good.
Have you heard about these people living in the storm drains? Have you seen them?
I have. I don't know. It's tricky. There are a lot of unfortunate people who are down their luck or homeless or whatever, who you see out on the streets. I've seen pictures of what it's like down there, but I wouldn't go there. As a local, you wouldn't really mess and go down there because there's all sorts going on, But it does exist. it is quite sad because people have got all sorts of different issues and problems, and there is some stuff there to help people out, but probably not enough. But is there ever enough? And also to make it worse, even though it doesn't rain here very much, but when it does, the storm drains are talking about there, the water just comes gushing down from the mountains straight under the strip and out to Lake Mead, and those who are not really in control of themselves do perish that way. So it is quite sad. But there's also those that do choose to live that way, and they're happy with it. It's how some people choose to live, I guess.
Yeah, I seem to remember in this documentary there was a couple that lived down there, and they were that exactly as you say. They chose to live there. They thought that this is just the way we're living, and it's alternative, but we're happy this way, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, and they make themselves their own sort of homes under there. So within these massive chambers and under bridges and so on that goes under, you can't really see a lot of it just from street level. But from the photos I've seen, and you might have seen this, what you're talking about, they build beds, they build structures out of pallets and whatever else. They kind of build their own little city under there, if you like, of their own life. And you know what, it works for them, and good luck to them. But there is definitely a major homeless situation here. When you get to a weekend, most major street corners will have somebody on there with a bit of card, begging for money or trying something. So, but it's a very safe place to live. It is a great place to live as well. I've been here for 2.5 years and absolutely love it for various reasons, and not to do with living in a casino. It's a brilliant way of life. There's loads of outdoors. There's an hour from being stood in my kitchen, I could be on a ski lift going up a mountain, going snowboarding for the day. I could be on my kayak in the river. Could be hiking. It's a stunning place.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like the casinos.
Yeah, because if you look at it and you presume it's just the strip, it's pretty soulless, that kind of place, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's fun, but on the flip side, you've also got this incredible entertainment. So you've got performers from all around the world that come and play here. So I called up a few weeks ago and said I was just going to see Paul McCartney, and I stood in my kitchen one Saturday morning thinking, what should I do? Hearing Paul McCartney's in town, shouldn't I? And I think you and Iain both just said, do it.
Oh God, of course you should.
I did, and that, yeah. And within 20 minutes of leaving my house, I can be in this arena seeing legends like that.
Yeah.
And we've got Lady Gaga here now. Don't get me started on the price of her tickets; they're crazy. But there's all sorts, and it's brilliant entertainment. So we're very, very lucky here.
Is it the sort of thing where, I know that they've got a constant flow of people who are prepared to pay the prices, but is it a matter of if you hang around or you know the right people, you might get a cut price ticket as a local?
Kind of, yeah. I've got connections with one of the shows here, which I can get into pretty much whenever I like. But there's also something here called House Seats, which is open to, I don't know if it's restricted only to Las Vegas residents, but there is a scheme you can sign up to where you get, you pay I think it's about $100 a year, and then you get invites to various different events, and it could be anything from a small gig to major shows and things that they're trying to fill up seats. I've heard rumours, I don't know how true it is, that towards the end of, I think, Celine Dion's stay here, that it wasn't that busy if it wasn't for people who were on this mailing list and just being given tickets all the time. So you can get in. A lot of it also is given out to like the winners of like you've got people staying in hotels, the high rollers and so on. They get given out tickets from the hotels to try and keep people there.
Oh God, yeah, they treat them like kings,
a lot of hospitality tickets.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And hospitality here for that sort of thing is great. I know somebody who got me into one of the Golden Knights games, which is the local hockey, which is a show by itself. You know, it's just a game of ice hockey, but all of a sudden it's in Vegas, therefore it's glitz and glamour and lots more fun than it could be anywhere else.
What do the actual Las Vegans do for fun? Because they can't want to go where all the tourists are.
No, a lot of them gamble. Locals will use the strip, like I do, to go down there for a bit of entertainment if there's something going on, going down there to see a game and so on. Otherwise, yeah, it's gambling, it's outdoor life. We've got the Raiders football team coming here soon, which is across American football. They're moving here. Got a brand new stadium coming. We've got a brand new baseball stadium. there's everything. There's all sorts of entertainment. There's a whole. There's 2 million people live here, so it's far beyond the strip and the sort of expanse you'll see around the strip with sort of the outlying sort of industrial estate.
Yeah, because that's what it felt like to me. It was like you had the strip, and then it kind of just petered out, you know, either side of it.
Yeah, that's right, and that's what I thought until I came out here and gave it a try before I relocated. And I'm about 8 or 9 miles in a straight line from the strip up towards the Red Rock Mountains, and from there I can look down the valley across to the strip, and I've got grass, I've got trees, I've got hummingbirds that feed in my garden from a feeder. It's just beautiful, absolutely stunning.
Are you there for good,
but
do you think?
Mixed with that, you could. I think so. I don't know. Let me see where life takes me next. But who knows? But there's coyotes, there's owls that will take a small cat or a small dog or something. There's mountain lions that if you go too far into the mountains you might come across. There's all sorts of wildlife here, which is not too pleasant, as well as the beautiful stuff.
Blimey. And you've been there 2 years now?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're completely sold on the place.
Absolutely. It's great. It's a great place, and it's scorching hot at the moment, but the heat's not too bad because it's mostly dry heat. I think it was 47 degrees when I was calling home the other day, and you can't even imagine it. But as somebody who never used to like hot weather, it's fine. You deal with it. It's you change the way you live and what you do and how you do stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. Good. You can't live the same sort of lifestyle that you were living at home, I imagine. It's like when I go and stay with my friends in Spain, and they're going, you know, they're not just lying around a pool all day. They've got to go to work, but they modify their behaviour, right? So you sit in the aircon for as long as possible. Yeah. You pay extra for seats in the shade, you know.
Oh yeah, but air conditioning here. So because we're not fortunate like on the UK to be able to shop around for your electricity and change supplier. Here you've only got the standard, the state supplier. So there's only one company, and if you run your air conditioner most of the time through the summer months, you're probably talking about $350 a month for air conditioning.
Good God.
So it's a huge electricity bill.
Wow.
Plus, of course, because it's so hot here, and in the winter it gets so cold, the houses don't have insulation, so in the winter you're paying similar amount of money for your gas and electricity to run the climate system for the winter. So it's not cheap.
They got you.
Like I say, you do get used to it. You learn to adapt. Yeah, of course they have. They've always got you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're that side of the Atlantic or this one. The energy companies always know how to play the game, don't they? Nice to hear from you, Andrew.
Absolutely. But I have got.
Go on.
I've got Iain and Cass Motorcycle Club going on here, so I'm wearing my Iain and Cass Motorcycle Club T-shirt on the right.
I've got to take my scooter for the MOT on Saturday, and I'm a bit worried it might not pass. It's very old.
Oh no.
Well, we'll see.
Oh no! Well, we don't have standards like that here. There's no MOT standard.
Oh really?
You don't need to have it. Yeah, you could do a smog test and that's it. So make sure the emissions are okay.
Yeah.
If anything's falling off it, they don't mind. And I've seen cars driving around here that don't even have a bonnet on them because it's been ripped off for some reason, and somehow it's still roadworthy.
Wow.
It's so yeah. If your bike was here, you'd be okay.
Well, listen,
good luck with it.
It may be that I'm trying to flog you one in about 4 days' time, so stay tuned. Thanks for phoning, Andrew. Take care. I know he's not going to ride my little hairdryer. He rides a proper bike. Hey, Alistair.
Hey, Cal, you okay?
Yeah, how are you now?
Well, I know you've had a cold.
Oh, God, yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I didn't get it off you. Don't you have to apologise?
No. But I do worry about you, with all that you've got on, all the driving you've got to do, the preparation for your show and everything, and all that, and I think you and Iain, you show tremendous fortitude.
Oh, yeah. Pride of Britain. We're fine. We're a couple of chancers who get paid to mess about and make each other laugh. It's brilliant. And, you know, you sound like my dad about the driving and stuff, and it is a long way, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't. No, it's fine. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. You know, and the alternative didn't bear thinking about, frankly.
Well, it's brilliant. Anyway, look, I've done a bit of research on the net on your behalf, and I don't know whether this is, he kind of copied what you were talking about, but Ross Kemp.
I think it was that, you know, a few people.
Ross Kemp did an episode of Extreme World.
Yeah.
Series 3, and one of the episodes is called Las Vegas.
It's that one. I'm pretty sure it's that one.
And because I read the description, and it describes about the things that you mentioned about the gambling and the selling of sex and all the rest of it, so it sounds pretty grim.
Yeah, it does. I mean, It does, and it's the fact that they're living underground, and as Andrew said, they're in storm drains, which have been put there for a reason.
Yeah.
So these people are establishing their lives down there, and every once in a while they just get completely washed out, and some of them don't survive it. It's incredible. And it's incredible that you've got this immense wealth, like outrageous wealth.
Absolutely.
Just meters above them. It really stuck in my mind, that documentary. I'll have to have a look at it again, I think.
Yeah, well, now you mentioned it, I'll probably try and find it, because it's kind of a sort of just describes the world at the moment, doesn't it? With a lot of rich people, well, not many rich people on one side, and on the other side of the fence, a lot of poor people who struggle.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won't go on about that because I get pretty alright. But it's just, I think it's very sad that certainly over the past 10 years the world has gone the way it has in terms of the distribution of wealth and things like that.
Has it ever been fair, though?
Well, I think it's been fairer, but probably right. Basically, there's always been the haves and the have-nots, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that I think in the past that there were communities that looked after the more unfortunate amongst us better than it's happening at the moment. Ever since I think David Cameron's sort of thing he went on about the big society, which meant that basically we leave everything to private companies and charity to look after the vulnerable. I think it's gone downhill.
Was that the same thing as him going on? Oh no, that was austerity, wasn't it? We're all in this together.
Yeah. That was the forerunner of austerity. Yeah. So, but I just think it's really sad because I'm sure that another thing which isn't mentioned is whilst everybody's it's a full-time job for them to make ends meet. A lot of these people miss out on creative opportunities. They don't have the chance to express themselves in terms of art and in terms of trying to make themselves better because they don't get the same opportunities that the richer people have, and then that's a loss to the nation as well, I think. And I know I'm sounding very serious now. I'm sure Ian wouldn't
he wouldn't mind. We all have our moments. No, it's true. It's true. And that thing that you were talking about that, the arts being dominated by people who are wealthy enough to be supported while they're trying out, while they're starting out. I mean, we've got a whole generation of privileged Etonian type actors who are doing really well in Hollywood at the moment. But what happens to the other lads? The people that start out in the Shane Meadows type thing. That's kind of the only outlet for them, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. Could I ask you a question in your particular arena? What are opportunities for people wanting to start radio? I'm thinking probably not many.
It's difficult. But it's one of those things where you have to believe you'll be the exception because, how many people actually get to... There are a lot more people working in radio who are not in front of a microphone. So it depends what you're aiming for. Opportunities behind the mic, there are limited. There's a limited number of seats. And they've become more limited now because, a lot of the commercial stations have decided that they're going to go national and they nationalise their, main breakfast and drive time programmes. And so that's jobs gone up and down the country. So, it's difficult, but it's one of those things where you've got to believe you're the exception. And you wouldn't go for it.
So you started that in journalism, didn't you? So, that was probably a good in.
I did, and that was because my dad was a journalist. And I've got to admit, my first lot of work experience was because my dad knew people. But, and that kind of goes with everything. I think if my dad was a builder and I wanted to be a builder, he'd get his mates to take me on. That's no different in any trade, is it? But I also think that, if you're no good at it, the door will be closed just as soon as it's opened.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So did your dad, if you don't mind me asking, what sort of journalism did your dad do?
Well, you see, here's the thing. He was a sports journalist, so nothing to do with what I wanted to do at all.
Oh, Talk Sport?
No, he didn't work at Talk Sport. He worked for a long time. He worked at the Express for a while. He's worked at them all because he kept getting made redundant. Because, you know, the newspaper circulation's been in trouble for years.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's worked at most places. I think for the most time it was probably Daily Mail Sport he was at. I think he was at the Sunday Times for a while. And then he got to this age where, and this is what happens to women when they get to sort of childbearing age, where you start to think, hang on a minute, they're shelving me, they're bringing people up who are not having kids or who are who are a bit older than me, and they've started to look at me in a different way. And it happens to women, and then if you're lucky and you persist, you can kind of catch up with yourself if that's what you want to do, and you know. As long as you've got a decent support network and you can almost make it like you've not got children to the boss. Do you know what I mean? It's that.
Yeah.
But with my dad, he got to about 50 and he started to see that he was being kind of sidelined a bit or seen as expensive, and they were bringing younger kids up and getting him to mentor them, and then he'd realised that actually they were being groomed to take over certain parts of his duties, and his generation of journalists were kind of being retired off, or certainly not promoted any further. It's a bugger, and I think that for men it comes later, and for women it's something that comes earlier, where you realise that it's actually not about how much work you put in. Sometimes it's just assumptions that are made about your age or the stage you are at your life.
And it must be not easy going through that, because you see your kind of longevity dissolving in front of your eyes, I'm guessing.
Also, he'd been at the top of the tree, he'd been at the top of the tree and never bothered by things like that, as a heterosexual white bloke, he was running the thing. And then all of a sudden he realises he's been put on a different pile, and it's the old gits pile, the expensive old man pile, white male and stale, all that stuff. And I think it was difficult. I think it was really difficult, and I don't think that's unusual.
He must be proud of you, though, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but he's one of those people that very rarely shows it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, well.
He's one of
those. Do you
those.
want me to ring him and have a word with him?
He does it now and again, but he was always the kind of dad where if I got 98% on a test, he'd ask me where the other 2% was.
Oh, no.
But he was kind of joking. He was kind of joking.
Hopefully.
But not entirely, do you know what I mean? And it's taken me a long time to realise that I'm never going to get the backslapping kind of dad that I was looking for. And that's fine too, and I should stop looking for it. I'm 42, and his approval still means loads.
Oh, yeah, well, by and large, unfortunately my parents are both gone now, but, we love them, and we love them.
Yeah.
So, anyway, look, nice talking to you, and, Ross Kemp, Extreme Worlds, Series 3, and the episode is called Las Vegas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ceefax. I appreciate your phone call. 03444991000. And also talking about parents and how they may not be with us forever is reminding me of another story I wanted to tell you about in a second, about the mum in a plant pot. Hold your fire. It's a belter.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference.
Talk Radio.
Okay, so if you've lost anyone and they've gone for a cremation, you are left with the conundrum of what to do with the ashes. And some people turn them into rings, I've seen that. Some people turn them into sort of crystal ornaments. Well, this woman has decided to turn her mum into a pot plant that she controls remotely through her smartphone. So do you remember, you're probably too young to remember this, people through the glass, but when I was a kid there was this thing called the Adventure Game, where one of the alien lords had been turned into an aspidistra plant, and he used to sort of move around in this tall plant pot and wibble about. Do you remember this? You won't remember this. It was great. But if you watch, I remember thinking it was magical, that show. But you watch it now and the effects are absolute pony. But anyway, it just reminded me of this. So Sarah Rodriguez's remains have been placed in a high-tech plant pot which sits on her daughter Elizabeth's porch in sunny California. This woman's been posthumously turned into a pot plant that sits in her daughter's porch and is remotely monitored through an app. Sarah Rodriguez died in 2017, and her daughter Elizabeth knew she didn't want to opt for a typical burial or cremation. Once the 91-year-old's body had been taken to the crematorium, her ashes were returned to her daughter and placed in a biodegradable urn. This was then buried inside a specialist plant pot alongside the seeds of an olive tree. As the months went by, the urn broke down into the soil, allowing the remains of the nonagenarian to be consumed by the sapling as it broke through the soil and into the world above. Sounds quite poetic, doesn't it? Now the tree form of Sarah sits on the porch of her daughter's home in California, growing a little each day in an automated plant pot that Elizabeth monitors from her phone. Oh, I thought it moved about. I think it just tells her when it needs watering. Boring. I thought she was going to move it about and, like, talk to it and stuff. Now that I would do. I'm not wishing my mum away, but when she goes, I would do it that way. Elizabeth said, my mum was a religious person, so we chose an olive tree because of its biblical sense and also because it symbolises peace. We wanted to keep it small so it would fit on the patio. I don't think that is biblical. Every time I go out the door, I'm reminded of my mum. I don't see the ashes, I see a representation of my mum. Sarah is one of the first people in the world to have the remains of her body buried in a pot plant, courtesy of a Spanish company called Bios. For the bulk of its 16 years operating, Bios has been selling biodegradable urns into which the ashes of someone's dearly departed are placed along with seeds of a tree, shrub or plant. Once dug into the ground, its roots begin to take hold, and the dry calcium phosphate, sodium and potassium of the ashes help the plant above to flourish. We get it. We get how trees grow. In 2018, the company's second product, the Bios Incube, went onto the market following a successful Kickstarter campaign. The advantages it has over its parent product are clear. Not only can the remains of a loved one be kept much closer, those without a garden or access to public green space can watch as their deceased is transformed from fauna to flora from the comfort of an inner-city living room or university halls. What? The likelihood of lovelorn teenagers carving their names into the bark of your grandma are also significantly reduced. While any bereaved person could technically dig the ashes of a loved one into a plant pot and toss a couple of seeds on top. Exactly. I was thinking this is going to be expensive. Why do it this way? The DIY method has one fundamental flaw. Watching they put these words in just for me because I'm heavily medicated and herbivorous is difficult to say. Watching the herbivorous incarnation of your beloved grandmother wither on your windowsill is not the best way to work through the grieving process, nor is returning home from a week's holiday to discover your neighbour has forgotten to water the shrubbery version of your father. I don't think the Mirror is taking this seriously. Elizabeth is mercifully free from such fears. Not only does her mother's plant pot have a self-watering system that's triggered by sensors attached to the soil's surface, levels of light exposure, electrical conductivity and atmospheric temperature are monitored. How snazzy. That is going to be expensive. Real-time data about the plant's health is then sent to the user's phone. It's a real worry that the plant could die, explained Elizabeth, a retired special needs teacher, in case you were wondering. Every day I go out there to check on Mum. I'm not going to let it die. I went away to Puerto Rico and I was receiving updates about the plant through my phone. If the plant is there when I die, then it's my daughter's problem. She'll have to look after it. Imagine that legacy. A year after Sarah was put inside her pot, little Ollie dwarf fruitless tree that has grown from her has reached about 20 centimetres high. After a bit of trial and error, Elizabeth and her wife, Jean Arce, found the perfect spot. Don't laugh at Arce. It's a perfectly normal Spanish name. Found the perfect spot for Sarah on the porch of their retirement home in Orange County, California. There, Sarah, who spent the whole of her life devoted to the Pentecostal church, her children and husband can grow into a bigger and bigger tree. Elizabeth added, I know my mum's in heaven, but she's also in my heart. This plant just reminds me of her. Well, I'm gutted because I thought that was going to be a movable plant pot that she could talk to. And it just turns out it's a plant pot that senses when it needs watering. Rubbish. I've just wasted 5 minutes of my life and 5 minutes of your life, and I'm very sorry about that. Elizabeth doesn't know anything about it. She's in California, and of course Sarah is now an olive tree. She doesn't care about anything like that at all. So apologies for that. When someone invents a plant pot that can move around, like that one that used to say Gronda Gronda, then I'll be interested.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
Well, apologies again for that waste of time story. I mean, it's all very nice and everything, and that, you know, my heart goes out to Elizabeth, and sorry for your loss about, you know, your mum and all that. But when they said about it being a smart plant pot, I thought that it would be something that sort of trundled around and had some sort of personality to it. It's just a plant pot that tells you that your plant needs watering, for heaven's sake. You know, I can see why you would want a flower or I'm terrible with gardens though. I mean, it would be heartbreaking. I would lose my loved one a second time if I was to put my loved one in a plant. Probably better off with, I don't know, what's wrong with sticking them in an urn like anything else. Hello, Jackie.
Hi, that's what I'm just going to talk to you about. We've got forests and things in this country where you can go and be planted with a tree and things, you know, but you can't put plaques or things up or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you can't put headstones and things like that. It's just, but I read about them, I said, this is the way things are going because funerals are so expensive. We don't know what is going to be happening in, say, if I'm here for 20, 30 years' time. It might be cremation only. You know, there's not going to be enough burial plots if they want to start digging up sides of motorways and things, don't they?
Well, there's talk of that, isn't there? And I think that's probably an extreme example at this point. But we haven't got infinite land to use for it. And it does seem like to be honest, and I know that when it's your loved one, you feel like you want something special for them, and you want some sort of marker on the earth to show that they were there. But it's a lot of money, isn't it, really, for something that doesn't mean anything to the rest of the world?
Yeah, well, we've got a thing in our family. My sister, my lovely sister, a bit older than me, she lives in Cornwall, and we're all over the country. So she said, it's pointless everyone coming down to our funeral for a 15-minute service, because we're not religious, we're not all this, that, that. And she sent us a letter saying her wishes were to do this, and we call it click and collect. So I said, what, you getting click and collect then? She went, well, yeah, basically, because it's still going to cost her over £1,300. But her and her partner said, when we die, wherever we are, we'll be collected, cremated, and ashes returned.
Wow.
Pointless, but it's still £1,300 because you've got to have the creme and all this.
Yeah.
So the standing joke in our family I said to my kids, I don't want a funeral, I don't want all this howling and wailing at funerals and things and whatever. I said, just do a click and collect. So that's what we call it in the family now.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, click and collect. Come and get me, send me off. And I said, and if you want to put me in the ground with a nice tree somewhere where you can think, you know, you can come and see me and whatever, you do what you want. And then go and have a drink. Our Janice just said to us all, just go to your nearest pub, if you can all get together, go and raise a glass and say, all the best, hon.
Yeah.
See you soon. Bye. And that's it.
I think you've got it sorted. But then again, I'm not religious either, and I don't really think I believe in an afterlife or anything like that. And I also don't want my kids feeling like they have to go somewhere extraordinary to see me, because the whole point is, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you live on in the memory of your loved ones, and as long as you've made a positive impact, that's job done. They don't need to go to visit you. You're there with them. Yeah.
Now, because we were grieving when my mum died, and it's 20 years this year since we lost my mum. We actually decided, we were all sitting there in the funeral place, and she had a few savings things, insurance things that I found in her drawers, because she lived with me for 7 years. And I went, oh, right, so she's got these insurance policies, didn't know anything about it, and it just about covered the funeral. It's about 3,000 something, but we just kept it really basic. We didn't have a big car, we just had the hearse, and we all went in our own cars. But we had ashes buried in a little church here in Morton, so we still go and see her. And then I look at her and think, why did we put you in the ground, Mum? Why didn't we just go and do something nice and sprinkle you somewhere, you know? So she's there, and we had to pay something like, I think it was £250 just for that little plot.
Wow.
And things like that. But every time I go, and on our anniversary of her death, then we go and put flowers on, and we take a picture to send round to the family who can't get there. Yeah. And they'll go, thanks very much. I go, yeah, you're welcome. Aldi specials, but they're really good flowers. But, you know, and they last weeks and weeks. But when I look and I go, why did we put you in there?
Tell you why you do it, because you go into coping mode.
Yeah.
When things like that happen, you go, right, now, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And so you just go, you know, it's like when you get married. All of a sudden, you know, you're thinking, right, I've got to do this, got to do that. Why?
Yeah.
Just because everyone else does it, because it's tradition, or because, but with grieving, it's different. It's because you kind of cling on to something that is, you know.
Just the three of us decided, there was 6 of us, so the 3 that were up here, my brother and my other sister were up here, and we all said, right, we do this. And I went, don't care, do what you want, she's gone, you know. I lived with her for 7 years, I looked after her and whatever. And it was a blessing when she went, because she was really poorly. So, you know, But it was just that, and then every time I go up and tidy the grave up, and we do this and we do that, and I look and I go, why did we put you in there?
Yeah. But was it someone else in the family that wanted that?
No, I don't know. We just sort of sat there and looked at each other and go,
what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, what do we do now? Because she didn't leave any sort of wishes or anything. She never spoke about it.
Mm-hmm.
She's very quiet, she kept everything to herself and whatever. But when you're looking at, and I say to my kids, don't be sorting funerals and going down to Landican and, we all have these, put a couple of songs on wherever you are and have a good laugh, and I'll be there still. And then go and put me somewhere in a nice tree, or, they do these biodegradable pots and things and urns now that just go. So go and do something like that. If we've got one round here, go and do it.
Tell you what, a friend of mine, when she lost her grandma, I mean, they're a little bit... they're a funny family, put it this way, right? They all distributed the ashes amongst each other, right? So they all had like a little envelope of them. And whenever they went somewhere where the grandma liked to be, they'd sprinkle a bit of... So she's like in a chip shop. She's outside
I
the
can
pub.
imagine.
She's at the top of a mountain. She went on holiday. So they did all this stuff, and every now and again they'd be like, in The Great Escape, where they're sort of kicking the mud out the bottom of the trousers.
Opening the bottom of the trousers and just sprinkle it across the ground.
There's a bit more grand there.
Well, if you've got time for this one, my partner's mum died a few years. I've been with him 19 years now, so it was a couple of years after I met him, and then his mum died, and they couldn't part with her ashes, but the place they used was absolutely awful. She came back in like in a blue plastic bag, sealed.
Blimey.
And then when they brought her home, his sister said, she's all right. Well, she said she's sitting by the telly in a bag for life. Well, I just went into hysterics, and I said, that's your tatty for you, that. I said, a bag for life. I said, really? And she's by the telly, and she leaves the telly on, so she could do blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
And then she said one day she was in tears on the phone, she went, I knocked the bag over and I've hoovered her up. So she was in the hoover.
Oh, God.
I went, you can't get any weirder than that. But this, I said to the kids, if in time, take a bit of the ashes, you make jewellery now, don't you? You can get it put into diamonds and
I'm
things.
just looking, I've got a tweet. I've got a tweet through here from Alistair, and it's 3 glass birds, and they look like that. Do you know that Murano glass you get from Venice? Posh.
Yeah.
And they're made out of his late mum's ashes, he says here. He's got one made for me, one each for my sister and brother.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But then again, what if I've got 2 little kids, what if they get smashed? I'd be heartbroken. Smashed my mum.
Probably go in a box in a cupboard somewhere and say, she's under the stairs or something, you know what I mean?
Well, my grandparents were in the wardrobe for ages. We used to joke they're in Narnia.
Oh, can't believe that one was in a bag for life next to the tally.
Better than in the Hoover bag, which is where she ended up.
And then she said I had to hoover her up, so she said I can't empty the Hoover bag because she's in there. And I just went to pieces, and I went, only your family, hon. I said, really? I said, unbelievable. But anyway, there you go. Another light-hearted conversation tonight, Kath.
Well, I was a bit worried when we started talking funerals it was going to get dark, but I should have trusted in you, Jackie, because you could turn it around.
Yeah, well, at least nobody died when McDonald's closed in Liverpool, did they, for the day, you know what I mean?
No, but the way they went on, they might as well have.
They might as well, mightn't they?
Is that sorted out now? Is everyone all right?
Oh, I presume so, yeah.
Have they closed the helpline?
Yeah, we were over there yesterday for our anniversary. It was our 19th anniversary yesterday, so we went to Liverpool to all the Irish bars and a few Guinnesses.
I was going to say, you didn't go to McDonald's. He took you somewhere posher than that, didn't they?
No, we ended up in Flanagan's having a breakfast, but it was really nice. There's a lovely Irish pub in the Cavern, by the Cavern and all around there, so we always go in there for a drink. And somebody walked past with the breakfast, and I went, I'm really hungry now. So we ordered this breakfast, and it was gorgeous, but that set us up for the day. We got home about 9 o'clock last night.
Oh, do you know what? What I really like about Liverpool, and I didn't go until I was probably, it must have been late 20s. I was pregnant, in fact. It was my cousin's hen night, and I got roped in, and I shouldn't have gone, really. I was too pregnant. But they were brilliant. What I really loved was, it's a bit like Newcastle in that it's not an area, like that bit there near the Cavern and all that, around that area. It's not just because sometimes you go out in the high street and up and down the country and you realise you're the oldest flipping swinger in town at the age of 40. Yeah. But there, like, all the generations are out and they're all in the same places and they're kind of all rubbing along together. It was brilliant.
We go early. We started at 10 o'clock yesterday morning, but we had a few Guinnesses and we just carried on. But once it gets to sort of 5:30, 5, half 6, half 7.
Yeah.
When it gets really rowdy and everything, we go, right, we've had enough now.
we're done.
So we've had a nice day. St. Patrick's Day, we always go over Paddy's Day because you have such a brilliant atmosphere over there. But come 6:30, when they're all getting off the trains and starting to come in, we go, right, bye, we've had a lovely day. We're off.
This is their
time. And we just let them get on with it. And, you know, they're all singing down the streets. But everyone loves everybody else on Paddy's Day, and it's a really good experience. So, yeah, I was going to say, but we went over yesterday and we had a lovely time listening to buskers in Church Street and one thing and another. So, yeah, we had a really nice time.
19 years, though, Jackie. Does it feel it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was married for 15 years and then I met him in 2000.
Right.
And I came home. I've been a weekend away with his sister. And I came home on the Sunday and he followed me down on the Tuesday.
Oh, blimey.
He's 11 years older than me as well, but, you know, we don't live together, so we're happy.
That's the secret, is it?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is how this one's worked out. You know, we went through all bad stages and whatever, but he's all right. He's mine. He'll do.
Well, that's brilliant. It sounds great. Thanks very much for ringing, Jackie.
All right, Kath. Have a good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
0344 499 1000 if you want to give me a ring. I mean, we start in one place with these conversations and end up somewhere completely different, so don't worry that you have to stay on topic, because no one does, and I like it that way. Oh, all right. Well, I gave you a disappointing story from America. Let me give you one that I think will deliver on all fronts. Bolt of lightning ignited fart gases in woman's septic tank and made her toilet explode. You've heard the story now. Do you want to know the detail? Let's go for the detail. A woman's toilet was destroyed in a violent explosion. Tell me about it. That happens at my house all the time. Oh, no. After a bolt of lightning struck her septic tank and ignited the gases. Blimey. Mary Lou Ward was left terrified by the sudden blast at her home in Port Charlotte, Florida on Sunday, and says it was the loudest sound she's ever heard. She told Wink, I have no idea what Wink is, but it sounds brilliant. We have nothing now. We came in here, the toilet was laying on the floor, there's all pieces everywhere. There's a clip. I don't think she's going to swear. Should we try the clip? Let's see what she says.
All this damage caused in a millisecond. No time to react.
It was the loudest noise I've ever heard. It just went boom.
The Sunday morning blast shattered the bathroom toilet into hundreds of pieces.
It used to be our toilet. We have nothing now.
Mary Lou Ward and her husband are not only without a toilet, but the indoor plumbing is destroyed. So is the septic tank. The odds just not in their favor. A lightning strike, chain reaction, septic tank to toilet explosion.
We come in here and the toilet was laying on the floor. There's all pieces everywhere.
Their plumber says the lightning hit the methane gases from fecal matter built up in the pipes.
Fecal matter.
The house was on fire because we smelled smoke. And we looked outside and it was the smoke from the septic tank was coming out, and smoke was coming out of there.
More than 24 hours later, you can still see the damage in and outside of their home. The explosion caused their master bedroom window to shatter, and the Wards are still finding pieces of broken yard decorations across the property and in the street.
It just did all of that damage and, exploded things into the road and so on in a half a second.
Grateful no one was at the right place at the wrong time.
I'm just glad none of us were on the toilet. That's the main thing.
I mean, yeah, you've got to be grateful for those things. I mean, can you imagine? The entire plumbing system apparently ruined after the lightning hit the septic tank and ignited that gas. I mean, what must the neighbours be saying? When she said I could smell smoke, I thought, I bet that's not the only thing you can smell. I mean, wow. That was an act of God, that. Zapping her septic tank. Incredible. 0344 499 1000. We've got an hour more of this nonsense. I'd love to talk to you if you fancy giving me a shout. You can phone us on that number, 0344 499 1000. And honestly, don't be shy. When you get on air, I know it's daunting, but once you get on air, it's just you talking to me. And I don't bite. I've been fed. God, that's such a mum joke thing to say. I've been doing that today. We started out talking, didn't we, about things that creep up on you that end up, things your parents said to you that you end up saying yourself. There's one of them. Apologies for that. You can tweet me at Talk Radio or at Flipping Kath, or you can text talk and your message to 87222, and that's 25p a message. Alistair's still tweeting me pictures of his mum in the form of these lovely glass birds that he made. Really beautiful, Alistair, but I'd be terrified that someone would knock it off the shelf in my house. terrified. Oh, also lots of people reminiscing about the Aspidistry in the adventure game. I'd forgotten that Bonnie Langford was in that. Hedy says, I remember wanting those different shaped coins so much. Weren't they called drachma? And a man saying, Doogie Rev. Weren't they all really dragons? Don't remember that. And Tony Bennett says, Gronda, Your Highness. Doogie Rev, was it Stanley Unwin? Was it the guy that speaks backwards? Was that the guy from Adventure Game? We're talking about old telly, but Ian's not here, so who's going to know? 0344 499 1000. We can talk about that. We can talk about, places where you've put your loved ones once they've gone and you've got them in ashes form. Did you see the Mortimer and White house this week? I don't want to spoil it. They went fishing. But there was this lovely bit at the end, and if you saw it, it was so touching and came out of nowhere. But anyway, you'll know what I mean and why I'm thinking of it when I'm talking about where you put your loved one's ashes. That's kind of a spoiler, isn't it? 0344 499 1000. That's 0344 499 1000. You're listening to Talk Radio. I'm Katherine Boyle, and this is The Late Night Alternative.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference.
Talk Radio.
Belfast Central, waiting for a train. It seems to me things have come full circle and I won't be here again. Getting back to working on my own. This could be my finest moment, or I could come undone. 'Cause I used to be wary of loving, and I thought it would just tear me down. And I'd sleep in your house with my boots on, always ready to run. Thinking back to all I used to be. You've been wilder all your life, and you were surely shocking me. Dancing past me in a black lacy shirt. My heart pinged like a lamb in spring, and you laughed at my innocence. 'Cause you knew I was wary of loving. I thought it would just tear me down. I'd sleep in your house with my boots on, always ready to run. Gin and tonic, endless cups of tea, counting crows and dark Welsh sunsets. I gazed while you held the steering wheel. Some thoughts I'd tell you, some you'd have to guess. Your arms round us while we prayed in silence, the sweetness of your breath. You are here at this point in my struggle, when I am clinging to all that I know. And this is one time seems to me things have come full circle, and I won't be here again.
I love people who sing in their own accents, don't you? Like, when I was growing up, everyone was trying to be Americans, and you know, I suppose that's a kind of throwback from rock and roll when we were all pretending that we were from America. Didn't the Beatles get told to be less Liverpool? Anyway, I love it when you hear someone like Juliet Turner who sings in her own voice. Beautiful. That was Belfast Central, and that wasn't the song I was going to play, but I was kind of swayed by a tweet I had from Belfast. Let me just see who sent it. It was you, wasn't it? Johnny Curry. So Johnny Curry's the one to blame for that one. 0344 499 1000. It's beautiful. That whole album's great. I found that in like 2000 because I think I heard it on Wogan in the morning. I think he played Burn the Black Suit, which was the first song I played at the beginning of the show. And that whole album's just beautiful. Juliet Turner. And the other song that I would recommend is Take the Money and Run, which is probably quite appropriate for this shift at Talk Radio. Let's have a quick word with Kieran. Hi, Kieran.
Oh, hello, Kath. How are you doing?
I'm all right. What you got for me?
Good. No, I was just... I couldn't believe you were playing that Juliet Turner.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, I got into it about 20 years ago or so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be around the same time as I did. It was about 2000, because that album came out 2000, Burn the Black Suit, apparently.
It did, yeah.
So how did you find her?
Through my girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And she introduced me to her. It's great. It's a great album.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know any of the other stuff. Have you ever... Did you carry on buying her things?
She hasn't released anything.
Hasn't she?
Then, has she?
I don't know.
think so.
I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, no, she's great. And I think, you know, she's still a bit of a legend around, especially around Ireland. She's part of the Dublin scene, I think, despite the fact that she sings a lot about Belfast.
Yeah, she done a great song for the Omar tragedy.
Yeah. I think she's from around there, isn't she?
Tyrone, I think.
Oh, let's have a look. Should know more about her. Let's have a look. Juliet Turner.
Why were you playing so many of her songs?
Just because I found that album on my iTunes, and I loved Burn the Black Suit and Dr. Fell. And it just, you know, when someone just pops into your head, and I thought, I'm going to play three. I think I did three in a row by Kirsty MacColl yesterday, so why not? I don't have to go rooting around for other brilliant songs if they're all on the same album.
The Kirsty MacColl, oh, she's great.
Yeah, I love that as well. And there's another person who used to sing in her own voice, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. What are you doing up at this time of night, Kieran?
I'm a night owl.
Uh-huh. By choice, or do you just have difficulty sleeping?
No, I can sleep when I want, really.
Mm-hmm. There is something special about this time of night, isn't there?
There is. Especially when it was raining earlier. It's nice when it rains at night, do you think?
Yeah. Well, because sometimes this time of night you can feel like and maybe not here where I am, because, you know, I'm in the middle of central London, right? But and there's loads of people around all the time, which is a mercy actually when I'm walking back to my car at 1 o'clock in the morning. But where I live, you know, once everyone's in bed, you feel like you're the only person alive, you know, when I walk in the house at 2:30 in the morning. And it's so it is a really special time of the day. Especially, like you say, when you've got the sound of the rain against the window, and that's brilliant.
You should appreciate everything you've got in life.
Yeah. You know, it can also make you kind of mull over things that wouldn't bother you so much in the daytime. That's the other danger in night time, isn't it?
But listen, nothing bothers me. Let me tell you, Catherine, the only reason I rang in tonight is because you played those Juliet Turner songs.
Good.
And they have a special thing with me and my partner. And do you remember that I was listening to your show last night? We had a partner who rang in and said, they have problems going on and all that.
Yeah. This is the couple that weren't together anymore.
Yeah, that's it. The one that's not together and they are together and all that.
Yeah.
And, I have a partner, I've got a daughter, and I love them so much. And what brought us together was Juliet Turner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only reason I rang in tonight. I'm not a weirdo, I'm not this or that. My name's Kieran Morn. Okay? And the only reason I rang in, because you just clicked something at Juliet Turner, and that's what got us together, that's what brought a beautiful child into this life.
Well, that's magical. Thanks for sharing that, Kieran.
Okay, and I just... right, and I love your show. I've had a couple of drinks. I just want to say, love your show, Katherine.
All right.
And Iain Boyle and all that. And
thanks very much, Kieran. Nice to hear from you.
Did I say Iain Boyle?
You did. He's going to love that one. I'll tell him when he gets back. See you later, Kieran. 0344 499 1000, whatever your motive for ringing. I'd be glad to hear from you. And I know that it's a daft time of night. So if you're up, I'm up. If you fancy a chat, you know where to come. 0344 499 1000. You can tweet at Talk Radio or at Flipping Kath. Or you can text talk and your message to 87222. I'm thinking in the next sort of half hour or so we might delve back into Chat It's Fate. If you've got nothing else to talk about, we could do that. But what else do I have that we oh yeah, I saw this and me and Iain were going to talk about it last week, but things happened and, you know, stories fall by the wayside. But did you see this story about a kid from India who had 526 teeth taken out? Incredible, right? Oh, spoiler, they're not all massive, you know, fully formed teeth. Some of them are sort of tiny little sort of deposits, calcium deposits, but still, that poor kid. More than 500 teeth have been removed from a child's mouth in India, doctors said. The 7-year-old boy had complained to his parents since the age of 3 that he had a swelling on the right side of his lower jaw. After 4 years of discomfort, doctors in Chennai discovered a large growth within his jaw. Hundreds of hard structures were found within the lump, which was around 5 by 3 centimetres in size. My God, if you've ever experienced toothache, this poor child. Once it had been removed, medical staff cut it open and found 526 teeth of varying sizes inside. Dental surgeon involved said the tumour is very nicely demarcated from the rest of the bone and it's 4 to 5 centimetres into 3 centimetre size. In the right side of the lower jaw, it's completely removed and taken out. Then the tumour mass was given to the histopathology department, and finally we came to know that there were 526 teeth present in the entire sac. My God, imagine that. Now, one of my nephews has got a double layer of teeth, but only at the back. So if you imagine, like a shark, right? If you imagine like you know the ridge you've got behind your front set of teeth? Well, on that ridge, there's another one. And so, in theory, he may have more teeth behind there. And I think he did, but I don't know whether they are baby teeth or what, but at some point he's going to have it addressed. But it's a thing that happens. But this poor kid, flipping heck, imagine 520 odd. No wonder he was complaining about it, and I bet no one listened. 0344 499 1000. I can see some calls coming through. Let's take a break, and then we'll catch up with Chris and Alan, and maybe you.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. You never know just where the conversation will take you.
On Talk Radio.
This is what I love about this show. No matter how weird the stories I find are, we play top trumps with you, dear listener, and I'm always going to lose. This is from Sharon, who said, have you seen this? Toad is a normal dog, apart from one thing. Her ear has teeth and it salivates. She's got a mouth in her ear hole. She's currently at a rescue centre for animals with major medical issues in Oklahoma City after being picked up as a stray. Founder of Mutt Misfits, I mean, that's unfortunate. What if they find out they're going to be hurt? Said immediately we recognised that she was very different to most dogs. She was initially showing lots of aggression, but once she and I got together, all that disappeared. There is a clip. We've got to listen to it. Here it is. I mean, teeth and a mouth that dribbles in your ear.
I'm going to take a little video of her ear mouth. Pretty mouth. There's a little bit of drool. Let me see your ear mouth.
Alright, they're closing in on the ear.
There's a little flap.
Oh my.
There's the ear mouth.
It's got little buck teeth.
It's beautiful ear mouth.
I mean, beautiful is a stretch.
There's something, isn't it?
Blimey.
I'm going to take a little...
I mean, an ear mouth. Upon her initial intake exam at the shelter, our veterinarian originally thought she had extra ears. But once we sedated her for her space surgery, that's when we discovered she actually has one ear and two mouths. However, Toad doesn't suffer because of her second mouth. Heather said we originally thought it had two teeth, but we did a dental cleaning on the ear a few weeks ago and discovered it has several. A few of the ear teeth had cracked, which caused some discomfort. But once we removed the broken teeth, she was as good as new. The main teeth we kept since they appear to be attached to the skull. We certainly can't rule out that the ear mouth might cause further issues in the future, but that's okay. We can just take one day at a time. I mean, where'd you put your word as original when you've got two mouths? The poor thing. Doesn't seem to be causing any problems, but I mean, to say it's unsightly is, mind you, I suppose, who am I to judge? I maybe have one of those. You hear about people all the time, don't you? You go in for surgery and find they've got a tumour, and then when they open the tumour up, it's another person in there. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Catherine.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm all right, thank you. You're being very quiet.
Am I?
Yeah. There you are.
Talking about teeth and things,
Mm-hmm.
You've put me on a different tangent now. My ex-partner, she had 6 fingers and 6 toes.
Gosh.
And with surgery, she had them taken off.
Oh, I see. Right, she didn't keep them.
Well, it wouldn't be shaking hands with somebody, would it?
Could be useful for, like, basketball and stuff.
Shut up.
I often find that I don't have enough hands to carry, so an extra hand would be useful. But so she got rid. Were they, like, fully formed fingers and toes then, or were they not?
Apparently so, yeah. She was only a kid.
Blimey.
Yeah, so, yes.
I think it's a bit of a shame to get rid then.
No, well, no.
If they work.
Well, no, she had extra toes on her feet.
Well, I didn't expect them to be anywhere else, but if they had been, I'd have liked to have seen it. So, did she have any ill effects from that? I mean, you hear about people having things removed, and then they, like, still itchy and that. Hmm?
No. Yeah, yes. I know, some people, if they've had their, like, leg removed or something.
Yeah.
You can still feel your leg.
Yeah, they get pins and needles and stuff, don't they?
Yes, yeah. Oh, gosh.
So, any reports of that?
No, she was only a little girl.
Okay.
She was only about 2 or 3, so no, it didn't affect her.
No, good. All right. Anyway, what's going on with you this week, Chris? What adventures have you had?
I don't write. I'm gonna nip over the chip shop across the way there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's not far from me, and right. So I went over there, and I can't see very well, Catherine.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Well, I don't mean to mention it all the time.
No, I'm just saying. Well,
No.
you've mentioned that.
I don't dwell on it.
No, you certainly don't. You would never know.
So I put my hand on the counter, right, and I thought, right, what is this? And it was one of these little bells.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what's this? And I just thought about Faulty Towers. Ding, 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 ding. I thought, why have we got this on the counter, please? And I realised what it was.
Go on.
It was a little bell.
Okay. I thought there was going to be something else than that. So did you press it?
Oh, yes, I did. Well, they accused me of pinching it. Said, I haven't pinched it. I said, can I buy it, please?
Right. Is it a big chip shop then? You have to ring for assistance?
No.
What have they got a bell for then?
No. That's why I asked them.
And what did they say?
Why have you got a bell on the counter, please? Oh, just because if we'd out in the back of the counter.
Uh-huh. I see. It's a good story.
I found it quite funny, actually.
Well, it's a curious thing.
I know. I've never seen. Well, I wouldn't say. See, I'm very touchy. When you lose your sight, Catherine.
Yeah.
You tend to be sort of put your hands down. And, gosh. It can get you into trouble sometimes.
Oh, really? Because it's that you're using your hands to see, in a way.
Oh, gosh. I remember my hands were in front of me and they were quite sort of chest height.
Oh, dear.
Oh, don't say oh, dear.
I think I know where this is going, Chris.
I know. I did have to apologise for this. I do apologise. I'm really sorry. And yes, I did put my hands on her breast.
Gosh. Excuse me, sir. I mean, madam.
Oh, I was so embarrassed.
I bet.
It's terrible. But that's what you do when you go blind. It's a bloody nightmare.
I bet it's not fun.
But never mind. You got a smile about it, and see, I'm still wound up about that bleeding little bell over the chippy.
Forget about the bell, Chris. It's not important. But it's I suppose it's a handy way to summon someone from a back room. They can't all be sitting there waiting for Chris to turn up for his. What are you having? Haddock and chips?
No, I didn't. I never have a bag of chips. I don't.
What did you have then?
It's something I buy. It's not. But I just thought, right, I'm going to have a bag of chips for a change.
Beautiful.
Well, no, it's not beautiful.
It is. It is, Chris. You got to live a little. Chip butty is one of the finest things in life.
Just because you're from the north,
I love a chip
you're
butty.
a man.
Yeah, I love a chip butty. Pie and chips. Pie, chips and gravy. Now you're toying with my dreams, Chris. When I was pregnant, I live down south now, and when I was pregnant, I remember sending my husband to the chip shop and asking him to bring me a pie back. And he said when he asked for a pie, he might as well have been asking for lobster. They're like, what? We've got a pack of pies. We haven't got meat and potato pies.
Well, when my ex, she used to send me over to Sainsbury's over the shop of a Sunday morning.
Very posh.
What do you mean, posh?
Sainsbury's is posh.
So I said, right, okay, right, what do we need? Right. And I know where you are. You're in the pub. I can hear music. No, it's Sainsbury's music.
Chris.
That's terrible. I said.
Busted.
I done it again. I booked us into an hotel. Right. Go and buy us something. Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm coming back. What I do? Now, they had a nice bar in the hotel. Right. Where are you? Right. I'm coming back. I am. Right. I can hear music. I am. And she accused me of being in the bar again. Oh, I'm terrible, see. Catherine.
She was right, though, wasn't she?
Oh, she was, yes.
She's not daft. She might have had 6 fingers to start with, but she had both her ears and they both functioned.
But I couldn't believe about that bell.
I can hear the disbelief in your voice, Chris.
I know. They accused me of pinching the bell.
Did you pinch the bell?
No, I did not.
You sound guilty as hell.
No, I did not. I did tap. It just reminded me of Faulty Towers.
Yeah.
Ding, ding. Because I put my hand on the top of it.
Oh, that excuse again, is it?
What do you mean?
Feeling with your fingers, slipping it into your bag.
No, I didn't. I've not pinched anything in my life, you know.
I bet you haven't. All right, thanks for ringing, Chris. I'm just having a bit of fun with you. Don't worry. I won't grass you up for being a bell thief. Hello, Alan.
Hello, how are you, Katherine?
I'm all right, thank you. Thanks for hanging on.
You're okay. I think that Chris was dinging all the way.
It was. We heard about that bell a lot, didn't we? I think he was quite confused by it.
I think he nicked the bell.
we all think he nicked the bell. He'll be furious for saying that, though. Anyway, what have you got for me, Alan?
Well, last night I couldn't ring you because my phone had gone dead, and I was listening to the radio, and you were on about spooky stories.
Oh, yeah.
Right, well, I've got a spooky story for you.
Right.
Right, okay. My father used to buy and sell cars. So he bought this old Rover D6, the old 2000 with no electric windows and no central locking like.
Okay.
It's got a fault on the battery, so it was a dynamo, not an alternator on those cars.
Alan, you're saying a lot of words and none of them are anything I understand. I get it. So it was an old car.
Yeah, and the alternator charges the battery. So
okay.
The battery was. So anyway, we went outside to start it up and leave it running. So we're sitting in the car, and all of a sudden the locks went down, and the car completely went white inside. And it lasted for a few seconds, and then it really got hot in temperature. And then all of a sudden, it disappeared.
What?
And we found out later that car had been rebuilt, and somebody had died in it. So how's that one?
You give me the willies, Alan.
Well, that is honest gospel, that is. So I thought I'd just tell you that one. That's what happened to me and my father that night.
God. Have you ever had any other spooky experiences, or was that the one?
No, when my nana and granddad was dying, well, we didn't know they were dying. My granddad was in hospital, he had a stroke, and something called the death clock. And it like ticks and ticks until the person dies. And that's another one.
What?
Yeah, that's
the death clock? You heard it?
I heard the death clock, yeah.
Oh, blimey, Alan.
I know. But, yeah, I'm telling you, any more sense.
I think that'll do, won't it?
I think that's enough.
Haunted cars and death clocks, that's enough for any lifetime.
Well, that's it. I'm just out on the reef tonight, so as usual.
All right. Well, thanks for giving us a ring. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, you take care of yourself and say hello to Iain when he comes back.
I will do. He better bring me a good present. 03444991000 if you want to give me a ring. I'd love to hear from you. Should we take a break now and then we'll get into... We can do some Chat Is Fate if you fancy. He's brought the spookiness. The only best thing I can do is to continue it, I think.
Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
Right, hands down the best thing I got for Christmas this year was a subscription to the Paranormal Monthly Chat It's Fate. Guess who got me that? Yeah, my best mate Iain Lee. Knows exactly what I like. It's like, hang on, let me see how many pages. It's not very fat. It's about 62 pages of bullshine every single month, right? And I've got the September 2019 issue in my hands now. Inexplicably, it's always 2 months ahead, right? So here's the latest one I've got. And I've opened it to the first sort of feature. Intriguing True Life is the heading, right? And it's called Be Careful What You Wish For, and it's about a guy called Chris in Newport, South Wales, who lost one sense and gained another. Intrigued? I thought you would be. Here is another instalment of spookiness, courtesy of the good people at Chat It's Fate. And Chris Barber, 59, of Newport, South Wales. Climbing into my car and buckling the seatbelt, I groaned. Not because of that, you pervert. It was Monday morning in December 2016, and I had another long week of commuting 70 miles each way to my job as a graphic designer ahead of me. I wish I didn't have to do this, I muttered to myself. I hated the job, hated the long hours, hated the commute. My blood pressure was sky high from the stress of doing a job I loathed. What I really wanted to do was to focus on my own art. But truth be told, I knew I wasn't good enough to make it as a professional artist. I'd tried to paint before, but the end result was always rigid and uninspired. The graphic design job paid the bills. What choice did I really have? Sighing to myself, I started the engine and set off for work. They say be careful what you wish for. I've always wondered if someone up there was listening to my plea that day. Intrigued? You should be. Let's read on. Christmas rolled around and at least I got some time off work to relax. The family were coming to stay with my wife Sharon and I for a few days. On Christmas Eve, I nipped into Bristol city centre with my grandchildren for a bit of last-minute Christmas shopping. After a trip to Santa and a mince pie, we headed home. There was no need for that extra detail. He just gave it to you. You know why? Because he's an artist. He thinks in pictures. I was carrying my 1-year-old granddaughter Naomi over the threshold when all of a sudden I came over really lightheaded. I put Naomi down, staggered to the nearest chair and sat down, putting my head in my hands. Are you okay, Chris? My wife Sharon sounded worried. Oh, are you okay, Chris? That's more worried. I looked up to reassure her that I was all right and realised I couldn't see her properly. I had poor vision in my left eye, but nothing that stopped me reading, driving or using a computer. Purple writing, blurred vision. Now my right eye was blurred too. There was a big white blob right in the middle of my vision. I could barely make out my wife's face. Yes, I'm fine, love, I mumbled. I had a bit of a funny turn, but I'm sure I'll be okay in a minute. I didn't want to worry Sharon, not with a house full of people, not over Christmas. Anyway, perhaps my sight would come back as quickly as it had disappeared. But it didn't. And by the time I went to bed, I was so worried that I told Sharon what happened. 1 minute I could see and the next I couldn't, I confessed. Sharon looked at me horrified. Chris, why didn't you tell me? You could have had a stroke. Not like that, you perverts. We're going straight to hospital first thing in the morning. So instead of spending Christmas Day with the family, Sharon and I spent it at the local hospital in Bristol. I was poked and prodded and underwent all sorts of tests. The doctors tried to work out what was wrong with me. My blood pressure had skyrocketed, so I was given an MRI scan to examine my heart and nervous system and rule out the possibility of the stroke. That kind of stroke. I tried to make the most... Hang on, we've run out of... There we go. I tried to make the most of Christmas, but I was too worried. We all were. A few days later, I was given the result of my test. The artery at the back of your eye is blocked, the doctor told me. It's because of the high blood pressure. That's what's caused the loss of sight. That's good to know, I nodded. Will you be able to fix it? Permanent loss. I'm thinking not. I'm sorry, Mr. Barber, the consultant said. See, they spoilt it by putting the little subheading before it, because I wanted to know whether he was going to, he was going to get his sight back. And then they put permanent loss in big purple writing there. So you know what's coming next. You might as well not bother. I'm sorry, Mr. Barber, the consultant said. I'm afraid the loss of sight is permanent. We know because of the permanent loss thing. All we can try to do now is stop it getting worse. I left the hospital numb with shock. It took a while for the full... By the way, if you want to give me a ring, you can. I'm really not precious about this story. 034... I know it's great. And I know you're all gripped. But if you want to give me a ring, don't be polite. Interrupt. 0344 499 1000. Back to Chris. I had no choice but to give up my job. Sign up for disability benefit, and I was worried sick and fell into depression. What are we going to do for money? I worried to Sharon. But Sharon, who is a working medium with a direct line to spirit, seemed less concerned than I'd expected. Sprung that one on us, didn't he? Everything happens for a reason, she said, patting my hand. The angels granted your prayer to give up work. And yes, it seems pretty brutal now, but you've got to trust in the universe it's going to be okay. Why didn't she tell him this when he first had his sight loss? Could have skipped the whole thing. She could have just told him the end of this story. Instead, she let him go through it. I think we need to have a word with Sharon. Helping out. Although I was spiritual myself, I was pretty sceptical about that, but at least now I had the chance to get more involved with Sharon's spiritual work, which is something I'd always wanted to do. She had her own healing centre at our home, seeing customers for Reiki healing and psychic readings. One day, I was sitting quietly in the room, listening as she did a tarot card reading for a customer. Suddenly, the image of a woman came into my head. I could see her so clearly in my mind's eye. I found myself picking up a pen, pulling a notebook towards me, and drawing the image that had popped into my head. Sharon and the customer looked at me. "What are you doing?" Sharon asked. She should have known. But the customer was staring down in shock at what I drew on my notepad. "No, not that, you pervert." "Oh my God," she gasped. "Seriously, no, not that, you pervert." "You've just drawn my grandmother." Purple writing, identical image. Listen, I've skipped ahead with my eyes. I can see the photo of the grandmother. I can see the picture. It's not identical. She pulled out her phone and showed me and Sharon a photo of an older lady. I could just about make her out, and she was the spitting image of the woman I'd just drawn. She wasn't. It turned out that she'd passed away a few years previously. The customer was delighted that we'd been able to bring her through. "The sketch is amazing," she gushed. "You're such a talented artist." "Thanks," I muttered, a bit embarrassed at the compliment. "That was amazing, Chris," Sharon said afterwards. "I think you must have a gift." I shrugged. "I've suddenly become a talented artist overnight? But that can't happen, can it?" "Not that sort of gift," Sharon told me. "I think you've got a spiritual gift." I laughed. "I doubt it, you know. It was probably just a one-off." "I told you before, you've got to trust the universe," Sharon said. "I know your spirit guides are with you. I can see them, even if you can't." She smiled at me. "How does he know?" There's more to this story. I think this is what your guides and the universe meant to happen all along. I started drawing regularly for Sharon's clients, and it was like a channel had opened up. Suddenly I could draw and paint in the free, uninhibited way I'd always dreamed of doing. I never thought about it logically. It just flowed out of me without me realising it. It's like when you're driving a car and suddenly you're at your destination, but you're not sure how you got there, I said to Sharon, trying to put the feelings into words. "It's your spirit guides taking over, controlling you and putting the pencil or paint where it needs to go," Sharon explained to me. During one card reading, I sketched a dog. Pretty random, I thought. When the woman looked at it, she started crying. It was bloody awful. Not really. It was her dad's dog, and her dad had just come through to us during the reading. Flat cap. I love the purple writing. It's my favourite. Flat cap. Another time, I drew a man in a flat cap with a pit head in the background. "That's my grandfather," the client said immediately. "And did Chris come on? Was Chris... What's Chris after?" Get back on if you want, because he won't settle until you do. "That's my grandfather," the client said immediately, "and you've also drawn the view from the window of his house in the background. Wow, that really is uncanny." "Recently I've been drawing a little girl," Sharon says, of one of her guides, Emily. "I've actually seen Emily myself. Although I can't see things if I look at them head on, I seem to have no problem seeing spirit even with my eyes shut. I've caught glimpses of little Emily in the corner of our bedroom. She's about 6 years old, and Sharon says she probably died of smallpox. Probably. What kind of medium is she?" I can't see my own guides, but Sharon can. She says that one of them is a monk. I've also done a shamanic journey to connect with my animal guide, and I got the word... Oh dear, this is beautiful. Okay, serious. And I got the word marmoset. It's not the word that I was thinking of. I actually had to look that up afterwards as I didn't know what a marmoset was. I can feel them with me though, and most importantly, I can feel their energy guiding me when I paint. It's like I'm a channel for spirit and I'm doing their work of helping them connect with the living. Purple writing, dream come true. Sharon was right, of course. She always is. Although it was incredibly hard losing my sight like that, the universe gave me my dream, the ability to paint. I mean, he's assuming they're good. My blood pressure has gone down since I gave up my stressful job, and Sharon and I have moved to Newport, South Wales, where we run a butterfly centre together butterfly enlightenment centre together offering healing readings and spiritual development courses. I'm far happier now than I was in my old job and life. It was like someone up there finally said, right, we're going to sort this out for him. As Sharon says, trust in the universe and it'll see you right. There's so many unanswered questions there. So many unanswered questions. The marmoset thing. So that's his spirit guide, the marmoset. What particular attributes does the marmoset... I mean, you had to look it up. Let's find out. I'm just wondering how good they'd be. You know, if I had a spirit guide, I'd want it to be like, I don't know, like a bear or something, right? Marmoset. It's a monkey. Oh, monkeys are always good. Marmosets, also known as zaris, are 22 New World monkey species. Term marmoset also used in reference to Goeldi's marmoset, closely related. 20 centimetres long. Relative to other monkeys, they show some apparently primitive features, claws rather than nails, tactile hairs on their wrists, no wisdom teeth, and their brain layout seems to be relatively primitive. As I thought, absolutely pony is a spirit guide.
Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
I've already apologised once for dropping the ball when it came to a story. Well, here's a story this whole show should have been about this. Man 26 pays woman £100 to give him a wedgie in public as part of a fetish. Iain always says if you can imagine it, someone's getting off over it. Wedgies apparently are the thing for this young lad. A London city worker has divulged how he pays upwards of £100, more than £100 for a wedgie. We were giving them out willy-nilly at school. The man, who wants his identity to be shrouded in secrecy. I mean, you can probably tell by the way he walks, to be honest, because I've seen the state of... There's a picture here. I was going to say I've seen the state of his pants. Probably not a phrase I want to use in this situation, but there's just the waistband left. That's a pretty strong wedgie. Pretty hard to recover from that, I would imagine. The man, who wants his identity to be shrouded in secrecy, believes his unusual fetish started when bullies carried out the act on him at school. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. The Camberwell resident, who wants to be referred to as Bobby, particularly likes being given a wedgie by women in crowded places. I'd do that for £100. Would you, Hayley? Do it for 50? Do it for 5. He told My London it's the perfect combination of humiliation, domination and pain. The 26-year-old explained, it's difficult to say when the thought of the wedgie shifted from nightmare, being given them by bullies, to something that I like now. It's fair to say that I endured a fair amount of wedgies growing up. My school was pretty brutal. I remember one occasion in particular at the end of term, aged about 15, that I was hoisted up onto a tree branch by my underwear and left there. Wow, that's a power wedgie. I remember a group of girls just stood there laughing at me and then went on their way to class. Wow. Wow, on a tree branch. That's like something from the Beano. To add insult to injury, I had to be helped down by the teachers. I wish I hadn't had such strong underwear. I can't say that occasion was when the fetish started, but I certainly vividly remember that group of girls. Tell you what happened to me at school, one of my humiliation things, that hasn't turned into a fetish, but you never know when it's going to flare up. My mum made me a summer dress, and it had like a proper full 1950s style swirly skirt. and a bigger girl got hold of the bottom of my dress, pulled it up over my head, and trapped me in it like a bag. I could see with my knickers and my legs moving about. Yes, trapped me in it. Trapped in my skirt. So I feel for this guy. I'm not hiring people to do it to me in public, though. That's where our ways part. At university, I knew quite a big group of very confident girls who would jokingly give me wedgies every now and again. By this stage, it had definitely become something that I didn't mind. Called wedgieing, Bobby has said he's since grown to enjoy the experience and prefers women to do it as it's more humiliating. My God. He says, take being hung by your underwear, you're helpless to stop it, and it's just the idea of underwear, which is such a private thing. Having it pulled out and on display, it's embarrassing. Plus, there's the dominance that the person has over you when they are wedgieing you. There's nothing you can do, you just have to deal with the pain. Someone having that much power over you is exhilarating. Bobby says he receives a wedgie around every other week, although it does vary. He spends hundreds a month on his fetish, but says he can afford it as he works in the city. How much I pay slightly depends on how good the wedgie is, he said. The most I've spent is £100 for one where these two women ripped my pants off in Hyde Park on a busy summer afternoon. He said he's given wedgies in many public locations across London, even Oxford Street, but usually it's just a park or open space. He's not a pervert. I don't have a particular favourite place, but somewhere busy is always good, Bobby added. There are some people who regularly wedgie me in various locations across London. They seem to really enjoy doing it. I bet they do for £100. He said it's tricky to find people who'll give him a wedgie, but he often uses social media. I think there are a lot of people who have a wedgie fetish, to be honest. I've said wedgie far more in the last minute than I've done for the last 20 years. Come in, Paul, or I'll give you a wedgie. I don't really know anyone who does, but there are lots of accounts on social media, and I know that there are dominatrix who specialise in wedgieing people.
That's a bizarre American thing. I mean, I am the oldest man in this building. In fact, I've got shoes older than you, and I'm probably wearing underpants older than you are. But I never heard of wedgies in the 70s.
Really?
It was never a thing.
What was it with you lot? Nuggies?
Dead legs, Chinese burns. Occasionally, there was a big lad in my school. Luckily, I was always very friendly with the bullies, quite right too. And he would grab smaller kids by the hair just above their ear and literally pull them up onto their tiptoes. Yeah, I know. Ooh. He was a legend. He sadly took his own life while on remand for an armed robbery.
Gosh.
Later on, so it's got a tragic ending, that story. I wish I'd not dragged you down that alleyway, but never a wedgie. Also, I don't think, with all respect, I mean, do wedgies what underwear do American lads wear? And they would give you a wedgie? Because I was always wearing the nylon pants with a kind of Y front.
Well, these, I mean, I can show you the state of.
I can imagine if you were wearing a kind of with a thong in your heart, but not a normal pair of pants.
I think he's wearing
not boxers.
I think he's wearing like.
Dirty boy.
Budgie smugglers. That's just.
It's like a jock strap or something, is it?
That's just the waistband where she's pulled it so hard it's come apart.
God, she's shattered his underpants. That is terrifying.
He said shattered.
Yeah. See the She-Hulk he's getting wedgies from.
Sometimes two women at a time.
A double wedgie.
Yes. Mind you, £100 is more difficult ways to earn £100, isn't there?
I'd give him a double wedgie for 20. Seriously. Booking now for 2020. No job too small. I'll bring my own pants. Have they torn his underpants with the vigour of the wedgie?
Yeah. And he likes being propped up on things as well.
Well, my show's going to be a real anticlimax after that, let me tell you. Serious business. That is astonishing. I mean, every pot has a lid, as my nan used to say.
It's true. So true.
How would you broach that in a relationship? So you like,
I like a bit of domination.
Films, you like that, and you like walks along cliff tops and lovely, and would you consider pulling my underpants up the crack of my arse? How would you break that? I've never said that word on the radio before. That's in reference to the donkey, but
yes.
How would you start? Oh, it's bizarre.
I don't know.
What a world we live in. As the great Latin writer Terence said, nothing human is alien to me, or should be, but that really is.
It's a weird
not even, I mean, maybe I'm making too much of it. It wouldn't seem to me to be genuinely that painful, would it? A wedgie?
Oh, I don't know.
Really? Because there's only a certain amount of.
It's got to go right.
I suppose that. Yeah,
right in your groin.
I suppose that bit. Yeah, I'm always thinking more of the backside, but I'm not always thinking more of the backside.
Tell you what, give me £100 and I'll demonstrate.
You're all right, I think. I've got £4.70 on me. So what can I get for that? Can you pluck a few hairs from the upper thigh or something? What a bizarre world we live in.
I know. Speaking of which, what's on your show?
Well, we're going crossing live to the USA because it's this month, of course. Well, two things we're doing on the show, really. It's kind of an August 50 years ago when you could say the 60s came to its apotheosis with the Woodstock Festival, but also it was the end of the 60s with the Manson murders. And we're covering both of those major anniversaries on the show this morning. And also a very grim but fascinating anniversary. The commemorations have started in Poland. They mark it every year. 75 years ago at the weekend, and it ran for 63 days. Something in the region, they believe, well, at least, they reckon, 80,000 people died. The Warsaw Uprising.
Wow.
And the Polish resistance, who kept going throughout the German occupation, because the Poles were the first to fight, effectively, because they were invaded in 1930. That started the war. They were expecting the Russian tanks to roll in. The Russians held back. The uprising went on for 63 days. The Russians went nowhere near it because Stalin wanted all those Polish leaders gone. Gosh. So he let the Nazis take care of those, and then he rolled into Warsaw. So it's a terrifying story about the terrible struggles of the Polish people. Not a wedgie in sight.
I'll be listening on my way home. Thanks very much. Paul Ross up next. I'm done. I'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, stick with Talk Radio.
This is Talk Radio.